And Dr. Smith has just tossed the first pass of the ball game, I guess you could say.
He wanted to throw out the first ball, and he threw out 2 footballs.
Yeah. Matter of fact, that's the first time I've ever seen that.
First time I ever seen that in my life.
And now here come the entire captain court for these respective teams. For Wilson, number 3, Quincy Randolph, number 20, Jamil Jenkins, Omar Saxon, and number 99, Derek Gordon. And for the Indians, number 42, Troy Washington, number 38 is Rodney Smith, along with Lavelle Pickney, as well as number 40. And that gentleman's name is not on our roster, so we can acknowledge him.
The NFL, unless you win the big one, you know, people just don't give you the credit, you know, for that mark of excellence. I spoke with Quincy last week, and you could tell, I mean, he wasn't overconfident, and he knows this is something he's got to get done, but it's not an individual sport, it's a team sport, so he's got to rely on the whole squad.
Tigers have won the toss and have elected to receive. Wilson will be wearing their visiting white jerseys since they are the visiting team. They alternate between the 2 divisions as who will be the home team. This year, the East Division team is the home team. So Anacostia will be wearing their home red jerseys. Wilson with their white jerseys and black with green stripes. Wilson will be defending the north end zone. The Indians will be defending the south end zone. And that's number 42, Troy Washington, who you can recall against the Eastern Ramblers in the playoff game had a 78-yard punt. He'll have the honors for the opening kickoff for today's game. Back deep for the Tigers is number 14, Van Johnson, and the 1991 Turkey Bowl is just moments away from the start. Anacostia going for their 4th city title in the past decade. Wilson's going for their 1st city title in the school's history, and we are underway. Caught at about the 16-yard line. We're going to turn across the 20 to about the 30, and down at about the 32-yard line. Number 21, Paul Hackley, on the return for the Tigers. It'll be 1st and 10 from about their own 32.
As we watch Wilson over the years, Wilson usually come out running at option, but I watched him a couple weeks ago when they were doing some other things, so we're going to see offense shows up today to play.
The Tigers, under the leadership of head coach Horace Fleming, who have repeated as division titles this year. It's their 3rd consecutive trip to the championship game, under the guidance of Quincy Randolph as the starting.
Well, I like to see a short possession real early in the game, like a quick out or a stop pattern, just to get both sides confident.
Jackson shanks one, and it goes out of bounds at the midfield stripe. So Anacostia, well, they're going to spot it at the 49. Still in all, the Indians will have excellent field position for their first possession of the ball game. 1st and 10 from their own 49-yard line, with 10:05 remaining in the initial period.
Also, Shelly and Doc, if you remember a couple of years ago, these same 2 teams were playing for the Anaheim Championship. What happened? Anacostia scored out like 20 points in the first half and had Wilson down. Wilson came back in the 4th quarter and caught up and actually lost the game by 2 points. And the game started off basically the same way. Wilson had a case of the jitters and not realizing what they should do early to get on top of this team. And Anacostia, on the other hand, really to it. Once he gets on top of you, it's very hard for him to relinquish the lead. So, and Coach Fleming knows that. So if he's going to do something, he's going to not allow Coach Stewart to get some points early and set on him and control it. With Lavelle Pickney, just everything, doing good things for him this year. It'd be very tough for him to come.
He had a big game. I remember that long return he had on a fumble return. That was a heck of a football game.
Anacostia, 1st and 10 from their own 49. First pass by Davis is complete across the 35-yard line. It'll be a 1st down for the Indians at about the 33. The receiver for the Indians was Keith Brannon.
Take another look at this. Now, what you want to notice is that here's Keith Davis. Watch to the right of your screen. Little pop pass to the tight end. Nothing very complicated. They hit one right within the seams. If they can continue to do that, it's going to be a long day for the Tigers.
1st and 10 for the Indians from the Tigers, 33-yard line. Just under 10 minutes remaining in the 1st period. Keith Davis, the starting quarterback for the Anacostia Indians. Davis looking for the end zone. Intercepted by Jenkins inside the 5. Jenkins across the 10. Cuts across the grain to the 20. The 25. And Jamil Jenkins is finally brought down at the 30-yard line. Big defensive play by the Tigers. It'll be 1st and 10 for Wilson. And that's your key matchup right there, Doc and Coach. it's going to be Pickney versus Jenkins all day long.
Well, what we have to also, as Doc said before, he dumped that ball in there first. Davis said is the quarterback over at Anacostia, but then he came right back with another little lob going down to the right corner of the field, and we saw Jenkins back there to pick that thing off.
See, on the replay, again, that ball just got away from him. You know, they went for it all. No patience on that deal. Kind of remind you of the Houston Oilers, man. They're going for it. He flat wasn't open on that. Give credit to the secondary of Wilson.
1st and 10 for the Tigers from their own 31-yard line. Randolph hands off to the tailback. That's Stephen Willoughby. Willoughby trying to shake some tackles. Flag on the play. Willoughby still on his feet. Tries to turn the far corner. Willoughby across the 35, the 40. Willoughby has one man to beat and is finally tripped up across midfield, but we have 2 flags on the play.
And Willoughby is the senior, and he's the big gun for Wilson.
It's called against the Indians, and that'll be tacked on 15 yards to the yardage that was gained by Willoughby. That'll push the Tigers deep inside of the Indians' territory. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Tigers from the Anacostia 37-yard line with 9:03 remaining in the first period.
Doc, getting back to what you just were saying, and that is that Willoughby has had a lot of things hanging over his head. And, that's a lot of pressure coming in. That's a whole bunch of pressure, and he keeps running like that, he's going to forget about it by halftime.
Yeah, I agree.
Randolph hands off to the fullback. That's number 32, Moore, the ball carrier. Moore may have about a yard or two, and is finally stacked up. It'll be 2nd down coming up for the Tigers.
Well, maybe early in the game, that's a wake-up call for the Tigers. Last year, they came in, they moved the ball, they had Easton. Easton came back and they won. The year before that, as I said, Anacostia got on a big lead. Maybe Coach Fleming saying, now, if we're going to win this thing, we have to go at it right now. We got the jitters out our first 2 plays. We know what we're supposed to be doing. They're averaging 32 points a game, by the way, on the season. So hopefully things will work out for them. And so far, they're moving the ball pretty well, along with that 15-yard penalty.
Moore got more than what I thought he did. Moore got more. Sounds like a title or something. It'll be 2nd down and 5 coming up for the Tigers. Randolph on the bootleg. Looking across to the far side. Pass is complete. 1st down inside the 20-yard line. Number 14, Van Johnson, comes up with another big play for the Tigers. It'll be 1st and 10, Wilson at about the 18.
Doc, that was a very big play, and I'll tell you why. What he did was in professional football, as we can see, Quincy's back. But what Johnson does is put Troy Washington on his back. If you can see, he puts his body between him and the ball and places him in a position where he can't get the interception. And he does what all defensive back coach would like to see the defensive backs do. That attack the ball at its highest point.
Well, that's what happened with the Cowboys against the Redskins. Michael Irving against Darrell Green. He simply posted him up in the paint area if it had been basketball.
Exactly.
Delayed draw to Willoughby, but it doesn't fool the front line of the Indians, specifically number 74 for Anacostia comes up with a big stop.
Dwight
Rowland.
Yeah, he's a big kid. He's 6'4", 245 pounds. And I think, you know, these guys are going to have to shore up that defensive line in order to force Wilson into throwing. If I'm on the side of Anacostia, I want Wilson to throw.
Because you're absolutely right, because running is their strong suit with Willoughby and the other fullback back there, number 32, Michael Moore. And you're right, Doc. If you get into a passing situation, the chances are you'll come out on.
It looks almost like it's less than 50-50. I mean, Quincy. I mean, he's a great athlete, but I think he's much more comfortable handing that ball off and running the option as opposed to sitting back and throwing the football.
That's right, because the first 2 years when they got here to play Anacostia and Easton before, Quincy was the option quarterback, and I think he had something like 15 touchdowns on the season. So now they're going back to passing. It almost seems like go against what he does.
Exactly.
After the 3-yard loss, it'll be 2nd down and about 13 coming up for the Tigers. Split backfield, they hand off to Willoughby. Willoughby trying to cut inside, slips on the AstroTurf and is able to get back to the original line of scrimmage and maybe an additional yard, and that'll be about it. It'll be 3rd down and long.
Warren McGill played that real well, Coach, and what he did was he didn't allow anybody to get outside of him. You know, he kept his shoulders square and played it upfield, and that's something that, you know, that's good coaching for a young man to be able to do that.
The other thing, too, is that Wilson over the years have had problems getting in from inside. They score long from the 40 out, but inside of the 20-yard line, they seem to have some problems sometimes with the play selection down in this area. And hope they can get in, because like I said, they're averaging 32 points per game coming into this game for the entire season.
So far,
teams have that problem, like the New York Giants.
So far, the Tigers are 0 for 1 on 3rd down conversions. Right now, they're facing 3rd down and 9. Moore, the ball carrier. Moore still on his feet. Moore gets inside the 5. It'll be first down, and I'm sorry, inside the 10. It'll be first down and goal from about the 5-yard line for the Tigers.
I'll tell you something, Doc. You watch these kids play and you say they're running, their bodies are not under control, but as they get older and mature, they get to college, you see that explosion, you see them gather themselves, you see all of the good things come. But like that, he's lumbering through the hole, you know. Give that play to, say, Ricky Evans, who's in the end zone. You know,
right.
Give it to him at this stage, he's lumbering through.
Exactly.
You know, it's strange. But,
it's a fine line, but it's so obvious.
Moore did get inside the 5. It's first and goal from about the 4-yard line. Here's Randolph on the keeper. Touchdown, Wilson Tigers.
Excellent play. They scored on something that Quincy Randolph is very comfortable with and he's familiar with. And that is keeping the football and rolling out, giving himself an option, either run or pass, and that time he got the ball and got into the end zone.
I think they found a soft spot. You notice they didn't run right towards Warren McGill, who played that play well 3 plays ago. Anacostia is going to have to take that away. There's no way you can allow a guy of his talent to go lateral down the line of scrimmage and be in full control. I'd have somebody take him out as soon as possible.
Nate Jackson's point after touchdown is blocked, so the score will stand at 6-0 with 5:52 remaining in the first period of play.
But what they did, Doc, they ran that the All-American, Lavelle Pinckney, number 95, and they pinned him back, and Quincy got an opportunity to get around the corner. So if Pinckney's going to have a good game today, this is the one he want to have, but certainly if he have a bad game.
Well, you know, we're taking another look at this. You made a great point. Whenever you can go against the best. Here you see Randolph comes outside. Really was never challenged. Almost. I guess there's our guy right there. That was 95, was that Pinckney? Pinckney got in late. Apparently somebody must have had a block on it. We were kind of blocked out. Coach is taking another look at it.
No, that's number 99. From the opposite side, they're running him down. We can see Pinckney being pinned back. 95 is being pinned back, and that was number 99.
That's our guy, Warren McGill. McGill comes all the way across the field to make that play. You know, you go up against great athletes. Now, in all due respect, he's going both ways. You think about a great linebacker in the NFL like a Lawrence Taylor, and I know a lot of times in the game plan, we want to go right at a guy of his nature. He's a terrific athlete, but sometimes at the point of attack, an athlete like of his nature will try to make plays. He'll go inside when maybe he shouldn't have. I think that's what happened on that play.
That's an excellent point.
Here's the ensuing kickoff by Jackson. It goes at the 2 to 6-yard line. Returned by Pinckney. They fake the reverse. Pinckney across the 20, the 25, the 30. Pinckney is off to the races. Cross midfield. Lavelle Pinckney is finally brought down inside the 45-yard line. It'll be first and 10, Anacostia at the Wilson 42.
Doc, that's exactly what we're talking about. Big athletes make big plays. And see how he just lowered those people to sleep, and then he kept the ball and going right up the field. And knowing that Pinckney is a threat, I was Coach Fleming, I would have somebody on him all day long.
Somebody? How about 2 people? Yeah. And if he makes a fake, I'm going to certainly go with him. Let's take another look at this, Coach. Got replays coming up. You know, he's a senior. He's been in this big game. I just don't think you can fake me out with that kind of... I'd go after him. You know, here he just shows great speed. This kid's got a great future Division I football.
Matter of fact, we're up here at Green Stadium for the championship game. I talked to Coach Steve Wilson. Coach Steve Wilson is very high on him, and he's very high on the recruiting list for Howard University.
First and 10 for Davis. He dropped the ball in exchange, picks it up, and is finally brought down after a loss of about a couple of yards.
Looks like Arthur Clemens is right in the middle of that aggressive middle linebacker, 5'9", 205-pound junior, who will pretty much be in the middle of things for Wilson this entire afternoon.
Second down and 11 will come up for the Indians. Just over 5 minutes remaining in the first period of play. Wilson on top 6-0. Anacostia looking for the equalizer. It's the 1991 Turkey Bowl from Howard's Green Stadium. Hands off to the running back number 22, and that is James Taylor. Taylor gets back to the original line of scrimmage, and that's about it.
You know, we've been talking a lot about Quincy Randolph in quarterback in his team, but we must talk about Keith Davis, the quarterback of Anacostia. And he has come a long way as a passer. You know, he has progressed. Last week, he threw 4 touchdowns to Lavelle Pinckney. The week before that, he threw 3. So he can't throw that football. And a few minutes ago, we saw him having 1 intercepted. But That's not going to stand for long because he will air that thing out, and Coach Willie Stewart loves to air the ball out. So down the line, we expect a lot from Keith Davis, quarterback number 10 for Anacostia.
I think Shelley made a good point at the onset of this telecast, and that is when you get a high school team that can get the ball up, usually good things happen to you. It's just very difficult to coach secondaries on this level. And most people play very basic zones, or play in and out cover and sky coverages, and I think that he's really showing us a lot. But let's give some credit to the Wilson defense because they've got great field position. So far, it's amounted to nothing.
3rd down and 10. Pass is complete across the middle. First down, Anacostia inside the 30-yard line. On the reception is Brandon. And it's going to be the rotation between Brandon and Pickney all day for Anacostia. This time it's Brandon's turn, and he gets the big first down for Anacostia. It'll be 1st and 10 from about the Wilson 28.
But one of the strangest things happened. We did a game last week when Anacostia had to play Eastern for the playoff to see who was going to have the right to come here. And Brandon had something like 9 receptions for like 130 yards. So he is the guy you can go to if you put the clamps down on the big gun, number 95, Lavelle Payton.
Davis hands off to Taylor again. This time Taylor is met immediately at the line of scrimmage by the Tigers, number 54. And that is Simba Massimini, the big 6'3", 210 defensive tackle as well.
Massimini had a big hit. He's going both ways. Again, we still have to give Wilson credit in terms of them. They're stopping the run. If you're gonna defend the pass, you want to take away the run, and so far they've been able to do that.
Massimini's sister, if I'm not mistaken, plays on the Wilson girls basketball team as well.
It's funny, and I have to laugh about that because Doc said Massimini made a big play. Massimini's whole family makes big plays. His whole family is just great people, and they're large people. And his sisters are sitting on the basketball team as we spoke of.
His little screen pass to Taylor. Taylor may have a yard or so, and that's about it. It'll be 3rd down and long coming up for the Indians. They're going to give him 2 for his troubles.
Coach, what impressed me about Wilson, again, is their team pursuit. They had 7 people there on the flare pass that got to the ball. And you can tell that down the road, I wouldn't be surprised to see some mixed direction, a throwback, some kind of trick play on the side of Coach Stewart. Because when you get a team that flows that way, sooner or later, we'll look for a gadget play.
You're absolutely right, because he did that last week against Eastern. Eastern tried to do some things. He even put Pinkney in motion to draw him and went away from Pinkney. So he is capable of making those types of adjustments. And if it's open, I'm sure down the line you're going to see something like that.
3rd down and 8 as you see Davis throw incomplete to the far side. It'll be 4th down. And Willie Stewart, if I know him like I do, he'll go for it. As big a game as this is, and as close as they are to the end zone, instead of going for the short punt. Of course, we do know that Lavelle Pickney has made some attempts at kicking, place kicking that is, but I doubt if they'll go for the field goal from the 25-yard line. 4th down and a long 7 coming up for Anacostia. That's Pickney split out to the far side. Brandon's lined up to the near side. One setback. Davis rolling to his left, throws across the middle, pass is incomplete. The ball will go over on downs to the Tigers. It'll be 1st and 10 for Wilson from their own 26-yard line.
Doc, did you find that guy was open? That was Brandon.
I didn't think so. I thought Derek Gordon did a great job. As a matter of fact, I thought he may have possibly been in a position to pick that ball off. He was kind of like hiding, running with him. And I think that you just got to give Wilson, again, some credit for that. Imagine you get a great return by Pinkney, takes the ball down into their plus territory, and they get nothing.
Doc, I'll tell you something, a little secret. Wilson is known for their defense. Last year, Kelly, we were giving up on an average of, 6 points a game? Or 6 points or less a game. So over the years, they...
No, it was 2 points.
2 points a game.
Yeah.
Over the years, they've been known for a good defense. Because even when I was a defensive coordinator there for like 4 years.
I knew that was coming up, yeah.
So hopefully, I've got a little tradition over here.
Moore on the carry for the Tigers. He gets upended as soon as he picks up a couple of yards before he can break loose. It'll be 2nd down and about 8 for the Tigers.
We kid about that, but Coach, how important is it really to establish a tradition in terms of defense? I've always thought the defense was a mental thing.
Well, actually what happens is tradition is important in anything because you can't get into fad things like the running shooter come and go, the one back might come and go, but certain things like the 4-3 was there for a long time and everybody's playing the 34 defense. It's just like everything else. You know yourself going to college. When you deal with tradition, you deal with a lot of good things that you deal with.
Oh, Randolph on a keeper. Randolph is finally brought down across the 45. It'll be a first down. They're going to rule the ball dead. Randolph gets a big first down for the Tigers, close to the 48-yard line. First and 10, Wilson. And, Coach, that's something you don't see by too many quarterbacks is the courage to take off and run when they feel they have the opportunity, as you see Randolph here on the replay.
I like this because, you know, if you take a look at it, he wanted to throw. Some guys drop back to run. That time he dropped back to throw. It wasn't there. He made a quick decision and got upfield, got positive yardage.
That was excellent. The other thing about it, remember that he is a runner. So he gets an opportunity to do what he does best, and that is run. He's going to take advantage of it.
And Randolph's not that big a kid, but he is pretty strong for his size. First and 10, Wilson from their own 48. Off tackle play to Willoughby. Willoughby gets up to about the 48-yard line, maybe the 49. It'll be second down and 8 from that point.
Well, like he was talking about also, Doc, before Quincy Randolph's great run was dealing with tradition and the things that you want to establish. You know, you like to establish a good program, you come in, and you want to have a psychological dominance over your opponent. And that's what you try to set out. You want to come out, you want to get those good hits, you want to get those good pops, you want to make those good moves. It's just like Darryl Green. When he's there on a great day, you cannot beat him. I don't care what you do. When the Redskins are on the road, you know, you just can't win. And that's that psychological dominance that you want to come out and establish over the offensive team and take away what they do best, and then you are in control of the game.
I like it.
That's what you want to do.
Randolph back to pass. Randolph is hit as soon as he releases the ball. Looking for Johnson, deflected, and it falls incomplete. Good coverage by the Indians. Number 24 was back defending for Anacostia. That's Herbert Murphy.
Also, like you said earlier, Doc, Wilson into a faster situation, and you got him by the throat.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, again, I like that pass. I think if he got up a little sooner, his man would have had an opportunity. Whenever you got tall receivers, I like that, especially on the sidelines. I'd like to see that ball a little bit more to the outside. Either your guy gets it or it's out of bounds. The pros call that a fade route on the streak. But again, I think right now it's a classic chess match between these two talented head coaches and their clubs. They're jockeying for position.
We've been talking about double-teaming Lavelle Pickney, but you can't underestimate Van Johnson. He's an excellent receiver himself. He has to be double-teamed as well. Willoughby trying to break some tackles inside. Flag is on the play. Willoughby is going to be brought down after a gain of about 2 yards, but there is a flag on the play, and it's thrown at the line of scrimmage, which makes me think that somebody was lined up in the neutral zone.
Willoughby is a nice looking guy. You know, you find a lot of running backs, especially in high school, they don't possess a good body lean, they don't possess a good balance. But he, at this stage of the game, he has shown some of those qualities. And with improvement in coaching and timing and maturity, I'm sure that he's become a prime running back.
Well, it seems to me he's got great instincts. I mean, he's a slasher. He sees the hole, he hits it quick. But our guy Pinckney at time played that very well. He didn't give up the outside. He kept that good ratio you like, you know, with that outside shoulder on the numbers, and he forced that inside. So that's good to see as well.
And Coach Doc, if you would watch Pinckney all year, you would have realized, as we realized, this kid is not only talented, he's smart. He did something last week that was very good. What he did was they had a punt. He went downfield 80 yards, ran by the ball, went to the end zone, he came back at the ball, and actually grabbed the ball on the 1 yard line. He came back 3 plays later, he scored a touchdown. You know, so he actually set up the play, comes back, and he scored 6 points. So.
Man, I love it, especially when it's done right by the fundamentals. You know, you see college game and pro game, and they don't do it.
Third down and long after the illegal procedure call. Here's Willoughby on the carry. Willoughby trying to turn on the afterburners. Willoughby inside the 30. Is finally brought out of bounds at about the 28 as the first period comes to a close. Another big play by Stephen Willoughby gets the Tigers a first down at about the Anacostia 28-yard line. So after one period of play, the score is Wilson 6 and Anacostia 0 as you see the replay of Willoughby there turning on the afterburners. Willoughby getting a little blocking help from Van Johnson there, but is finally forced out of bounds by Troy Washington. So we'll switch into the field, and we'll take a quick TV timeout for the broadcast factory with the score. Wilson 6, Anacostia 0. We'll be right back from Howard University's Green Stadium.
Separate various aspects of something that's fundamental to speech. Isn't it really all in there? Once you say that the Due Process Clause incorporates freedom of speech under the First Amendment, that it's all there. How can you separate any of it out?
Well, if you say that the Due Process Clause incorporates and makes applicable against the state the First Amendment in haec verba, so to speak, the question is answered. If it does that, it does carry it over in precisely the terms it's applicable to Congress against the state. But I think the argument on the other side is that, and I think this is made very well in Justice Jackson's dissent in the Beauharnais case, is that there was a good deal of understanding of what freedom of speech meant at the time the Constitution was adopted, that was undoubtedly applicable against the states, but that there were perhaps a slightly more latitude allowed to the states than were allowed to the federal government. And Justice Harlan took that position.
Stephanie was who? He's wearing 89. He's 89 in the program.
Gobble, gobble, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Thanksgiving to you, and welcome to Howard University's Green Memorial Stadium on Thanksgiving Day for the 1991 Turkey Bowl. It's the annual DCI AA football championship game, this year featuring the East Division champion Anacostia Indians taking on the West Division champion Wilson Tigers. Hello, everybody. I'm Shelley Bowers Jr., along with my colleagues today, Eddie Martin and Rick Doc Walker, providing all the exciting play-by-play action for today's game. The Tigers are coming into today's ball game with a record of 10-1, only defeat being to Gonzaga in about the second or third week of the Welcome back to the campus of Howard University Green Memorial Stadium. We're at the 1991 Turkey Bowl, the DCI AA football championship game between the East Division champions Anacostia Indians, going for their third city title in the past 4 years, against the West Division champion Wilson Tigers, going for their first ever city title. Right now, the Tigers have the upper hand, 6-0. They have the ball, 1st and 10 as we prepare the start of the second quarter. 1st and 10 from the Anacostia 29-yard line. I'm Shelley Bowers Jr. along with Eddie Martin and Rick Doc Walker. Quincy Randolph, your starting quarterback for the Tigers. Out of the eye, Randolph hands off to the deep back. That's Kenny Coleman. Coleman tries to do a 360 inside the 25. It'll be second down and about 5.
Well, as we know, also Coleman comes in this game after last year leading the Tigers to this game. Willoughby wasn't there last year. Their starting tailback went down. Coleman came in and scored 6 touchdowns in 5 games. And he led them here last year, but like I said, up steps Willoughby, and Coleman has to take a seat back, but that doesn't necessarily say anything negative about his ability. It says that, Willoughby is just a better back at this particular time.
Well, I'll say something about running backs. I think it's a premium. You see it each and every week, and that is no substitute for speed. When you got a guy that can turn the corner, you got to get him on the field, because it is flatly the difference between winning and losing. Also want to give some credit to that offensive line. I think Saxon and Frazier that time, the 2 guards, really got a good surge. You know, you don't have to get a lot, but if you can just deny penetration on the defensive side, you got a good back, you're going to wear people down.
That's right. And as of yet, Willoughby, he has 5 carries for 46 yards, and he's on his way to a fine afternoon as a running back. Well, fellas, today is a great day. The sun is coming out through the clouds, and thought it was going to start out with a little snow. Last year, we had a 70-degree day. The year before that, it was cold with snow. So we thank the good Lord for shining on us today, and just as I said, that he came through the clouds.
Well, Coach, let me ask you this. We have a low-scoring game so far. 6 points have only been scored. We know that Anacostia would love to run and shoot, and Wilson loves to rely on their defense. I guess that says that to keep the game at as low as possible would be a big benefit to the Tigers.
I think put things in perspective. Doc mentioned earlier, and he said that these two coaches are dealing in strategy right now. And no one wants to make a big mistake to give the other one an upper hand. And I think as soon as they figure out what they're going to do, how they're going to attack. I've coached with Coach Fleming for 8 years and coached against Coach Stewart for like 15 years. So the thing is, we just going to watch these two guys play this chess match until one of them make a mistake, and I think it's going to blow it open, and they're going to go ahead and jump through that hole. What do you think, Doc?
I agree. I don't think this is going to be a tight football game. I think that somebody's going to take advantage of somebody before this thing is over, and it could happen right now if Wilson scores.
Here's Coleman on the carry for the Tigers.
And Coach, we talk about power, and I think that this chess match, time of possession, Wilson now 10 minutes. Anacostia is 3 minutes and 45 seconds. We total offense, Wilson 112 yards, Anacostia 36 yards. Now, you don't have to be a mathematician to figure that out.
That's right, and what happened is that we keep the ball. Also, Wilson was leading this game in the second quarter with 10 minutes and 46 seconds left in the game. It's 6-0 for the Wilson Tigers over the Anacostia Indians.
But I will say, Wilson's got to get more points on the board to make that really justified, because if I'm on the other side, one big play, one fumble, one break, and it's even, and that time stats, you can throw them out of the window.
That's right, Doc, and I tell you, it goes without saying last week, the same thing happened. Easton led the game all the way. Anacostia had a couple big plays, and today we find Anacostia's in this championship game, and Easton is sitting at home. So 6-0 with the Lavelle Pinckney and a Keith Davis on the field. That air attack means absolutely nothing until the end of the game.
The Tigers pick up the first down on a 3rd down and short situation. It'll be 1st and 10 now for Wilson inside the Anacostia 20-yard line. They'll spot it at about the 18-yard line. So Wilson picks up unofficially their 5th first down of the ball game.
Here's Coach Fleming. I mean, you know that on his mind, he's got to say, I've got to get points. I've got to slow this game down, but I need some points. I think that'd be a heck of a pressure to be outgoing. You're going up against a team with a dominant air attack.
Here's Quincy Randolph from out of the eye. Hands off to the up back. That's Coleman. Coleman inside the 10 to about the 7-yard line. Close to another Wilson first down.
That was an excellent play by Kevin Coleman, but also getting back to what you were saying, Dr. Ball, what Coach Fleming is thinking. One thing he's thinking, and he has done that, and that is keep the ball out of the hands of Keith Davis and Lavelle Pinckney. As you can say, the time of possession is 10 minutes. Anacostia only had the ball for 3 minutes and 45 seconds, and Wilson have 112 yards versus 36 yards for Anacostia. So that in itself, he has won that battle in this quarter in the first 15 minutes of the game. So now, what you say, he has to score points. He's down on the 7-yard line. He has to come out of here with something.
In essence, what you got to say is Coach Fleming is not going to throw the ball unless he absolutely necessarily has to, because he wants to keep possession of the ball as long as possible, because if you give Anacostia the ball, 9 times out of 10, they're going to score in a short period of time. As you see Moore trying to turn the far corner and is unable to do so. Guess who came up with the tackle?
Mr. Pinckney. I think I have to call him Mr. Pinckney from this point on. Boy, that's just a great play, because he kept that ratio. I mean, he went out and showed tremendous strength against a good back. And I mean, this kid has a great future, and I hope that he's disciplined in the classroom as well, because if he is, I think we're going to be watching him for Saturday afternoons for the next 4 years.
I'll tell you something. At the game last week, we saw some people from the University of Miami, and as I look around now, I see some more people from the University of Miami, and they said that they liked him very much. And what you say, Doc, he kept a good relationship with the runner, and a lot of times an inexperienced back, defensive end, will come across the line of scrimmage and go upfield and commit himself. That time he came up the field, he went down the line of scrimmage and made the play.
2nd down and goal for the Tigers. And this is Coleman, or is that Moore? I believe that is...
It's Moore.
That is Moore again on the ball carry. And Moore is unable to generate anything this time around either. So it'll be 3rd down and goal for the Tigers from about the 7-yard line.
Brian Cole came up, made a good play on that. You know, Troy Washington is someone that's standing out now. In my mind, Anacostia, the safety, has made a couple real good hits. You know, Anacostia, they got a lot on their mind right now. I mean, they're only down 6-0. There hasn't been a lot of points scored. If you play defense for Anacostia, on your mind is force turnovers, get that ball back on our side so we can get some points.
Exactly.
Third down and goal for the Tigers. Stacked here to the near side. Randolph making his call. Randolph looking to his left. He's got Johnson open. Did he catch it?
He caught it. What a catch.
They're saying, yes, he did, but he did not make it in the end zone. So it'll be fourth down and goal at the half-yard line.
Well, I'll tell you what we're seeing, fellas. We're seeing some fine athletes in this football game. Let's take a look at it on the instant replay. And we can see Quincy Randolph drops back, and he puts the ball in one place where it should be, where it can't be intercepted. And Van Johnson goes up to make a one-handed, absolutely magnificent catch. And the ball just wasn't in the end zone. They're going to spot it on the 1-foot-yard line. But as we can see, watch this catch, this one-handed catch.
That was super. It reminded me of the Clark catch a week ago. The one in the posse, you know. Gary Clark laid out, made a great one-hand catch. He had the near tip of the football, went right in the cone of the hand, right in that palm of your hand. He sucked that thing in and didn't let the ground knock it out. That was a big play. Now, Coach, I think you got to go for it. I think without any hesitation, up 6-0 against a team that you know you cannot beat unless you keep them off the field and score points, I go for it.
Well, Doc, you're absolutely right. But while we have a little timeout right here, I want to ask something a little bit different from this game, Doc. And dealing with the Redskins, we'll find that the Posse is doing well, but Ricky Sanders was not catching balls. You know, you are one of the original heroes for the Washington Redskins. But, so talk to us a little bit about Ricky Sanders. He's an excellent receiver, he's a great guy. And what's happening with him?
I think of the three, Ricky Sanders is just probably he's the best athlete. One of the best, maybe the best athlete on the football team. He has terrific speed. He has not been utilized yet. And I say yet because the real football happens in the last 5 weeks of the season. Don't be surprised to see Ricky Sanders emerge back as a home run threat.
I certainly hope so because he's a fine athlete and we really miss him.
This drive by the Tigers has consumed 7 minutes and 23 seconds, but it won't mean anything if they don't get the ball in the end zone right here. Willoughby tries to dive. Touchdown, Wilson. The official here on the near side signaled, yes, he did make it in, so the score is 12-0 Wilson with 6:52 remaining in the first half.
That was a big play. And the gentleman in white cap, Frank Price, who's the head official down there, when those hands go up, you know it's for real, and that was a very, very big play on his part.
That was excellent play, but it was excellent willing to get up in the air and try to get over it. But Doc, although it was a good play, it was a very close play, Shelley. What happened is he actually brought back. But a lot of people in the stands may go crazy, but the rule states once the ball breaks the plane of the goal, it's a touchdown. You can be thrown back, but it doesn't even matter.
The Tigers will attempt for the 2-point conversion to make it an even 14. Randolph hands off to Coleman. Coleman's not going to make it. Coleman's caught by the ankles, and the score will stand at 12-0. I believe Pinkney was part of that tackle.
Boy, that's going to come back to haunt him. I think we got a replay coming up on the touchdown. Now, you watch here, Willoughby here, Randolph to Willoughby. Willoughby goes up, and right there he's actually caught on the side. Coach, he didn't get in front of it.
That he got in front of it, stop that penetration. We always teach our guys to get in, pull them away from the goal, and if you don't get that body lean in there, and that direct force with force, square those shoulders up, then something like that's going to happen, and that's exactly what happened to Willoughby's touchdown.
That was a great drive, 13-play drive that ended up in a touchdown. The downside to it is that Wilson now is having problems with the place kicker. I don't think he had any confidence with him at that time. Now, hopefully he wasn't forced to go for two. If so, that could really come back to haunt him in the long haul.
We certainly have seen that happen a lot during the season, and a lot happening all across this country with extra points. But once again, Wilson is up with 6 minutes and 52 seconds. The score is 12-0 Wilson.
And here's Jackson's ensuing kickoff taken by Pickney inside the 5. Return across the 10 to 15. Pickney in trouble and is finally brought down at about the 17-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for Anacostia. Excellent pursuit by the Tigers.
Pickney's going to have to learn to put that ball a little closer to his body. That's one thing to be an open field running with that ball out there, but you're in a crowd, you're going to have to suck that thing in.
You know, also, these two teams are very, very close in style of play in terms of that go for that juggler vein when they get ahead. Now, if Coach Fleming gets too far ahead of Coach Stewart going to have a heck of an upfield battle because as the season went along, Wilson is 10-1 on the season, and they will not let these people catch up to him once they get out in the head. So if things get too far ahead, Coach Willie Steele is going to have an uphill battle.
And keep in mind, the Tigers already have recorded 5 shutouts this season. This will be number 6.
You know, Shelley, if I'm behind, I sure want to have the run and shoot on my side. That was Pinkney again on the slant end.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me, Shelley. Coach, what do you do right now? You're defensive coordinator for Wilson. You know you've got a lead right now. Still not a comfortable lead, but you do have some points. You've got great field position right now. Do you put pressure on? Do you blitz, or you sit back and play your game?
What I do is I do what got us here, and that was put pressure. I go right at him. I put a blitz on him right now. I double up on Pinkney, force him to go somewhere else, and I'll blitz him right up the middle. That's the first man he looks for.
First and 10 for Pickney and the Indians. I'm sorry, second and 10. Across the middle, complete to Brandon. Brandon across the 30, cuts inside, and is finally brought down to the 35. First down, Anacostia at their own 36-yard line.
You know, Doc, you were a tight end, and what was the first thing that the defensive coach was always telling his people? Put his hands on the tight end. Never allow that tight end to release off the line of scrimmage untouched. You get your body up on him, you jam him, knock him around a little bit, and you release him to whoever you're going to release him to. They're not touching the tight end. As long as they don't touch Brandon or coming off that ball for the tight set, or for the tight end set, they're not going to get anything.
That's going to kill him. Derek Gordon was trailing that time. You can't trail a guy who can outrun you.
That's right.
Just that simple.
That's right.
First and 10.
Put his hands on him.
First and 10 for the Indians. Pickney goes to the air. Davis goes to the air. Pass is deflected, and the ball falls harmlessly to the ground before it's picked off by a Tiger defender. It'll be second down and 10.
You know, and also I'm observing something too, that we do not even teach the old way of jamming a guy with your arms into your body. You got to extend those hands, get those hands out there, and jam those guys and force them down inside and release them. And number 9 is going to have a problem. If he puts his body on Brandon like that again, Brandon's going to slip him, and he's going to be open all day.
I think right now Brandon's the key. I'd use Pinkney more so as a decoy right now and get some points on the board.
Never touch Brandon, and Brandon caught the ball.
There goes Brandon. Brandon still on his feet. Brandon stretches out inside Wilson territory for another Anacostia first down. So Brandon now all of a sudden is getting his name called frequently as the Indians now have a first and 10 at the Wilson 47.
It wasn't out of Doc's mouth before Brandon catches the ball. And the thing is, number 90 for Wilson, and that's
Well, you know, one thing about a tight end is that once he gets on the road, he's accustomed to having passes, and he's only going to get better, just like a good back wants the ball as much as he can get his hands on it.
Davis going up top again, throws a little short slant pattern to the far side. Pass is complete, good for about 6 yards.
They must be reading out of mind, Doc, because what I was getting ready to say was last week when they played Easter, it was number 18 and number 18. His name is Mike Randolph. It was Randolph, Brandon, and number 95, Lavelle Pinkney, and they all three caught passes for something like 285 yards and 3 touchdowns. So that trio can't catch the ball. They might have like the mini posse.
Yeah. Well, it's also going to give Davis some confidence. Right now, he looks to be a lot sharper than he was in the first quarter.
And he's capable of getting the job done. So.
Second down and 4 coming up for the Indians. Davis pumps once, goes across the middle, got a man wide open, and complete inside the 15-yard line. It would have been an easy 6 for the Indians, but number 18, Mike Randolph, you just elaborated about him. All of a sudden, he drops the ball, and it'll be third down and 6 coming up for Anacostia.
Now you can see why Coach Fleming and the defensive coordinator, Coach Cox over there, Wilson, let Jamel Jenkins play offense and defense. If Jenkins was not back there, number 20, that's a touchdown for Randolph from Anacostia. Jenkins had the recovery speed to make that up, and that's why he's playing free safety. And his job is to sit back there and not let nothing come down the middle. And he did his job very excellent.
Well, that whole secondary, Roberts, Jenkins, Johnson, and Stokes are going to be under some big pressure. Again, this Anacostia offense sure is potent. They haven't shown any run, and right now I just don't think you can win throwing every down.
I don't think the Indians got the ball off in time. We may have delay of game called against Anacostia. Let's see what the good guy in the white cap calls as the officials sort this out there in midfield. It is delay of game against the Indians. They'll back them up 5. It'll be 3rd down and about 10 now coming up for Anacostia.
Coach, can we expect to see any draws on the side of Anacostia? Any quick screens, any draws?
I'm laughing because you were reading my mind. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I'm saying right now Wilson is prone for a draw screen. They have actually have only 3 men rushing. They're dropping back in the covers because actually Anacostia spread their men and went into an ace formation to get into the run and shoot. So they're back in expecting a pass. This is an opportune time for a draw or either a tight end screen or a screen to 22 sitting back there, and that is James Taylor.
But keep in mind, Coach, remember at the Eastern game, we had brought up Theodore Boone. Remember, their little speedster, but Boone is hurt, so he can't play. So they have to rely on Taylor while he's in there. Pass across the middle was incomplete on a 3rd down and 10.
Boy, that was dangerous. Gordon almost took that one to the big house.
You know, once again, if I'm the defensive coordinator, and I hate to say I, because I don't want to put myself in a position, but I would say what I think might help them out is right now, what you want to do, if you want to get back, you want to get close on those guys, double, even go to a double zone, take those inside people and go right at it. Because he's rushing 3 people, those linebackers dropping off. But 22 is not driving, getting out into the pass pattern. So what we can do is put your linebacker over to pick him up if he comes out. And the weak side linebacker, let him go at it. You know, because number 9 is...
4th down and 10. Davis going to the air. Intercepted by the Tigers. Van Johnson returned to the 20. The 25. Johnson to the 20, the 35, and it's probably brought down at the 37. I was going to say he'd done better to just let the ball go down to the ground incomplete, but Johnson had a nice little return. It'll be 1st and 10 for Wilson near the 40-yard line.
Well, I'll tell you, Doc.
Well, now when you take another look at it, this time Davis drops back, again, throws off that back foot, got a little pressure late. This ball just hangs. That's scary. Whenever that ball just hangs up in the air, and I think the offensive receiver at that point had to become a defensive back. And I don't like that. I think that receiver's got to know, hey, this is not in my reach. I've got to dive. I'll take a penalty, anything but give that ball that easily.
What we're going to do, Doc, is you and I, we're going to get a team and we're going to start coaching. The moment we talk about putting pressure on, they blitzed the backside linebacker, number 3. He came around, hit Davis just as he threw the ball. We can see number 93 hitting Davis right there. Just as he throws the ball, he blitzed from the weak side. And Davis put a little bit extra on his ball, getting it out there, and it's picked off by number 14.
Here's Randolph a pitch to Willoughby. Willoughby carrying it like a loaf of bread. He must want to get a job at the Wonder Bakery. He finally is brought down across the 45, but a flag is on the play.
Just about to comment that we haven't had that many penalties so far. Now, Wilson, the coach, you talked about, and Shelley, you mentioned the fact that these teams both had the ability to go for the juggler. Now, right now, Wilson, this game has escaped him past 3 years. Now, you got a chance to put some points on the board. You got a chance really to demoralize Anacostia. And if you're going to do it, you do it on this drive.
And it's almost like Anacostia, Coach Willie Stewart has a little black book on all these coaches because he never panic. He just keep rolling along, staying with the game plan. One good thing about him, he makes the right adjustment. He's very good at making adjustments, and that is what we teach our running backs as a running back. You know, you adjust on the run, you read on the run, you do all those things. So on offensively now, he's doing some things. And what he's done, he's taken Val Pitney out of the game on defense, and he's inserted number 90, number 84, he put Brandon at defensive end over on the outside. I was just wondering whether Lavelle Pickney was hurt or he was injured or something.
1st and 10 for the Tigers after 1st and 15, I'm sorry. 1st and 20, what is it? 1st and long, let's say. After the Clifton penalty, Randolph under pressure, throws the ball to the ground. They're going to say incomplete. Anacostia wants intentional grounding penalty, but they're not going to get it because there was a Wilson player in the vicinity.
The only thing is
Randolph
that
before
green AstroTurf. You may have thought that turf was a player.
Because the only man close to that was number 52, and 52 is Chad Frazier, and he's an offensive guard.
And here come the Bluebirds Tigers from Anacostia.
Official job is never easy. That's Frank Price in your screen. Again, I mentioned Frank is a longtime veteran, over 20 years, doing a lot of officiating in the inner high, CIAA. Frank is one of the best in this entire area, and I know he heard those boo birds on that one.
Yeah, you better believe it.
Second down and long coming up for the Tigers. Split backfield for Randolph. Randolph hands off to Coleman, and Coleman is lucky to get about a yard or two. It'll be third down and long.
And I got a feeling that we're going to be sitting up there in about the fourth quarter talking about some missed opportunities and the fact that Wilson had a chance to do something and failed to actually get it done on a big-time level. Because right now, if you're Anacostia, I think you're still in this, but you're feeling good about what's happening. You've made two big mistakes, but yet you haven't paid for it.
That's right. And Anacostia, as I said before, Coach Willis Stewart is not one of those coaches that's going to panic and get away from his game plan. What he's going to do is going to carry it right down to the wire, and he's going to make the proper adjustment. With 3 minutes and 15 seconds left before the half, he gets this ball back. I would look for him to throw that ball on every day.
Wilson is 2 for 5 on third down diversions. Right now they're facing third and 14. Randolph hands off to the deep back. Willoughby still on his feet. Cross the 40. Willoughby inside the Anacostia territory and is brought down after a big gain. It's a first down for Wilson at the Anacostia 47-yard line, and Stephen Willoughby can't do wrong today, Coach.
Well, I'll tell you something. Doc talked about it earlier, that he was going to this game carrying a big load. But, Doc, I tell you, it looks like that load went out the window because he's running, and he's well on his way to a 100-yard gain. Look at Willoughby right now. There's some replay.
But what I like about it right now is you see a back, he has good instincts. He gets to that hole, and right now he's almost like grabbing for air. He wants more. He runs high, and I think, you know, you got to be good to run high. If not, people on defense make you pay a tremendous price.
You better believe it.
The Tigers, with their 7th first down of the ball game, now have it 1st and 10 from the Anacostia 47-yard line. We'll say the 46. Randolph hands off to Moore. Moore trying to push his way forward is brought down just outside the 40-yard line. It'll be second down and short coming up for the Tigers.
Pygmy's back in the game too, Coach. I think he may have been just a little winded. But right now, Anacostia is getting pushed around on that defensive front. Wilson is starting to secure that offensive line, that line of scrimmage, and that's just not a good sign.
Once again, it's 2 minutes left in the game, and Wilson's keeping this ball out of the hands of Anacostia. And if they do not have the ball on offense, they can't do anything. And if Wilson don't fumble the ball and they keep running the ball, that's their strong suit.
Well, like I said, you know, Coach Fleming is not going to throw it unless he absolutely, positively, necessarily has to. I could almost make a commercial with that. Second down, second and short. Another first down for the Tigers, and again, they'll use up some of that clock. As you see Coleman get it first down for the Tigers, cross the 30-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 29-yard line.
Coach, what does Anacostia have to do now defensively? Do they have the kind of defense that can force turnovers?
Okay, now Anacostia, they have to really get on the ball because right now Wilson is blowing them off of the ball. They are possessing the offensive line. I think the other thing is they're going to have to stop taking these people head on, and they're going to have to go to something like a gap. They're going to have to, like the old Dallas flex, and that's no more than a gap defense because, you know, as we know, two people can't occupy the same space at the same time. But they're allowing these people to get up and into these holes like this, and watch that defensive line. These people are standing straight up. And that's because the offensive line of Wilson is blowing these people off the ball. And they're going to have to start attacking, and they're going to have to put pressure with those linebackers. They're going to get these people involved. And until they do that, Wilson's going to march this thing right on down the field.
$1.33 remaining in the first half. 1st and 10 for the Tigers. Randolph from out of the eye. Randolph trying to throw it. Got a man open. Complete. Touchdown, Wilson Tigers. Number 21 is Paul Hackley. Hackley with a 29-yard pass reception gives the Tigers a commanding 18-0 lead with $1.22 remaining in the second period.
Not only was it a lead, but that was a fine pass. That pass came out of question today like it was shot out of a cannon, and you could have asked for nothing more.
And he was patient. I mean, he didn't take a big drop. It was a 3-step drop. He stood right in the middle of the fire, made a good decision. Hackley catches the biggest pass of his junior career. I mean, that is big time, and I think that 18 points still won't be enough against Anacostia. I'm not going to underestimate that run and shoot.
I'm a Wilson alumnus. You don't see me jumping up and down yet. I know better. And the point after touchdown is off the crossbar. And keep in mind, folks, that they're playing here at Green Stadium, which is college crossbars, and the NCAA, they shortened the width of the goalpost by 5 feet. And so these high school kickers are not used to kicking to such a narrow distance within the goalpost.
One thing, too, we must understand that the kicker is also Quincy Randolph, who's also the quarterback.
Let's take another look at the whole touchdown play. Here's what impressed me a lot about Randolph on this. He gets here now, it's a two-step drop. He looks, decides to run, or maybe he doesn't. He steps up in the pocket, sees the open receiver, touchdown.
And he looked off his other receiver. You see him look to his right, he looked to his left, then come back down the middle. That was excellent.
So again, I think now we start looking at the benefit of a young man playing as a sophomore, as a junior, being in big games. He didn't panic. You know, and I think, you watch a lot of Howard University games and did some of the color. And when you see a young man with experience, it's just no substitute for that when he doesn't panic.
You know, we'll have to talk a little bit about that, Doc, after this kick, because I want to ask you a question.
Here's, is this Pickney, or is this Pickney with the ensuing kickoff return? And Pickney does a smart thing. He noticed that he was running out of daylight, so he just covered up the ball. You know, there's one thing, you know, as versatile as Pickney is, one thing I don't like about him, when he's returning those balls, he does carry it kind of loosely. But Pickney noticed that the gap that he had was closing quickly, and he just gathered that ball in, brought it close to him with his stomach, and just decided to play it on the safe side and got down on the ground at about the 19-yard line.
Speaking of quarterbacks and gaining experience and things like that, we know that Damon Otter up at Howard University, big guy, 6'4", 230-pound quarterback. You know, he started 5 games, he didn't win 5 games. How important is getting him ready, prepping him, allowing him to go through that freshman and sophomore year and learn your system, learn what you want to be done so he can excel in basketball?
Well, I think a lot. We'll talk about that in between the breaks. I think Arter has great physical tools. I think he's got to understand how to think like a quarterback. I think he's got to spend a lot of time in the film room. He needs reps. I think there's just no way to substitute playing time. And fortunately or unfortunately, whatever the case may be, he didn't get that consistent time. And they shuffled so many people in and out. I don't know if anybody benefited from that. I think, and they have a lot of talent. I also like 13. I think he came in and showed he could win. You know, Steve Wilson has a lot of talent and a lot of decisions to make. But I think at the quarterback spot, you got to hang your hat on somebody. They've got to have that air about them to know, hey, I'm the man, and I got to get this thing done, and he's going to hang with me through thick and thin. Arter is a young man. He's young in age. I think he's got to mature something.
First down and 15 coming up for the Indians after the 5-yard delay of game penalty. Davis on a quick slant. Passes dropped again by Randolph. That's the second drop by Randolph. It'll be second down and 15, I'm sorry.
That's a little out of character for Randolph. And as I said, last week he caught something like 7 passes for like 110 yards against the Eastern Ramblers. So the Anacostia Indians could advance to this point. So maybe get that concentration off a little bit or something, because he's usually a fine receiver.
Jared Gordon got out in that throwing lane, too. He may have tipped that because he had a great angle on the ball.
Second down and 15 coming up for Anacostia. If I'm not mistaken, they have all their timeouts remaining. 44 seconds left in the half. They have the ball at their own 19-yard line, trying to get something on the scoreboard before the half comes to a close. That's Taylor, the ball carrier. Taylor is across the 25, close to the 26, still short of a first down, and now the Indians will call a timeout with 35 seconds left in the half.
You know, we talk about the quarterback position, and both of these teams have young men that are playing real good football, but it is undoubtedly, other than playing cornerback against a throwing team, the toughest spot on the field.
I think playing cornerback is the toughest spot when it's never put on the field. Because, shucks, I was an old cornerback before I became a running back. And then in the old days, we used to play that bump and run. So if you couldn't run, you know, you were just out of there. And you turn around and go upfield, these guys coming around on the street. I remember when we played Kentucky State down there in the fairgrounds in Kentucky, and I was on the corner. Came up, man, they pulled an offside guard. Got Buckman's out there, had a concussion, I thought it was going to die. You know, playing a quarterback is a tough job. You know, you don't know what you're doing out there. You're in for a long day.
Well, you can sure tell the good ones, though. They distinguish themselves. And one thing, you know, I watch a lot of high school football. Just my sister coaching out in the Fairfax High School, and one thing you look at, I see a lot of games, very impressed with the Metro Division and the kind of ball they play a lot of man, a lot of press. I think you teach it on this level. You know, you get kids, put them out there, and if they got good athletes, they can get the job done.
You know, it's very important that you said that when you get back there, because I had a conversation with a coach not too long ago about when to teach and when to coach.
Third down and about a deuce coming up for the Indians. Out of the shotgun is Davis. High snap, flag on a play. Davis gets the pass away. It's incomplete, but there is a penalty on the play at the line of scrimmage. We remind our viewers to make sure you stay tuned, because coming up at halftime, we got a couple of local bands that will be performing, and we'll have a look and listen at them. Anacostia has their band here. I see another band here lining up here on the near side. I don't recognize the colors.
It's Woodson and Spingarn.
That's Spingarn's band?
Certain Spingarn color.
Yeah, that's for sure. And a good guy in a white cap is sorting things out for us meanwhile in the field. And he's telling us that the infraction is against the Indians. Illegal procedure is called against Anacostia. That'll back them up 5 yards. It'll be third down and about 8 coming up for the Indians from their own 21-yard line. 32 seconds left in the half. And the clock will start on the snap. Davis again from out of the shotgun. Davis under good protection. Davis gets the pass away. It's complete, but it's only good for about a yard or two. It'll be fourth down and about 4 coming up for the Indians.
Now I question that, Shelley. I question that call. I mean, what is a 5-yard out going to do you at this point? I think you got to put the ball downfield.
As they say, you have to go vertical. If you don't go vertical, you're not going to get in.
Clock is running inside 10 seconds. Anacostia will have time to get off one more play, if that, and Davis is not going to even snap the ball. The clock is going to run out, and Anacostia will go into the locker room down by 18-0. So the head coach, Willie Stewart, instead of going for the Hail Mary, decides to just let the clock run out to triple zeros. So we played 24 minutes of football from Howard University's Green Stadium. And the halftime score is Wilson 18 and Anacostia 0. Doc, I don't know about you, but that's kind of questionable, letting the clock run out, not going for the Hail Mary. I mean, we saw what happened against the Redskins this past week with the Cowboys. I mean, they threw up a Hail Mary with no time left in the clock in the first half, and they came down with a touchdown.
Well, I think you got to be aggressive on offense. And I'm sitting up here in the booth with you guys. I'm not coaching, and I'm certainly not going to question a coach who's doing it full time. But I go for it all. I think that was 2 downs. They wasted an opportunity to make a play. Get the ball up. You've got terrific receivers. You do this thing full time. And I think if you take your team into at halftime demoralized, they start questioning what you're thinking. You know, and I think when you take this bite out of a dog, it becomes a cat.
It hurts Anacostia more so, especially since their offense is their main asset. I mean, we're talking about Air Anacostia here, the run and shoot. I mean, anytime you decide not to try to shoot the ball and air it out with, about 30 seconds left in the game, that's in the half, that really takes a lot out of your players.
Well, we have some very important things that we should talk about, fellas, but I'm looking around at these stats, and it's absolutely astonishing. And we have Wilson at 209 yards in total offense, almost doubling Anacostia 110 yards. We also look at time of possession, and Wilson has almost 20 minutes, 9 minutes and 5 seconds to be exact, versus the 10 minutes and 45 seconds of Anacostia. But what most important with that is Willoughby has 7 carries for 68 yards, and as of yet, Pinckney has not have a reception. He doesn't have a reception.
Plus, he has 2 interceptions.
Right. So we find that Wilson is doing everything that they were supposed to do. We talked to Coach Flippin. He wanted to come in and keep the ball out of Anacostia hands, make Anacostia play the slow game. He's doing what he said he's going to do. He's going to score some points, and he's going to not settle on it, but try to control this game. On the other hand, Anacostia coming with the high-powered offense, the run and shoot. The offense is shooting, but nobody's catching anything.
No doubt, they're shooting some blanks right now. And I think that, the defense, the Wilson defense, and you guys know this, you cover it on a weekly basis. You win championships with great defense. And I think when this thing is said and done, now if they prevail, it's going to be because that defense really played way beyond its means. They shut down a high-powered offense. 2 is that the big-time players have to make big-time plays. And you just can't. The stats don't. Willoughby, he's got the runs right now. Pinckney's playing great football, but they don't have the ball in his hands. I think you got to go to him And we were talking about the Anacostia may come out. We had word that they may come out in blue uniforms for the second half. Maybe so. Maybe that's the difference. They get out of the red and get into the blue.
Well, it's a psychological process. That's a psychological process.
A little quick. I'm sorry, go ahead, Coach.
No, I was just going to say, whether they change the uniforms or not, they're going to have to perform. And if they continue to play like they're playing now, and a big thing, like you say, Doc and Shelley, right before the half, you cannot allow opportunities to go through your hands in a game such as this. There is no next week. You're not going to get a game next week. This is the end of the season. You have to pull out all your marbles, pull out all the tricks, shoot all your guns today, and go home and sleep well and eat some turkey. And Anacostia, if they try to save anything, hopefully come out this half, because if it doesn't, Wilson continue to roll. This game is going to be a blowout by the fourth quarter.
Well, Coach Fleming hasn't had real good turkey dinners over the past few years. Now, what is he saying right now at halftime, Coach, despite the fact that he's up 18-0?
Well, being in the locker room with him over the years, I'm sure right now he's saying, look, we have to maintain what we're doing. We're not going to do anything fancy. We're not going to change anything. We don't have to change anything because they're not forcing us to change anything. We are dictating this game at this point. If we have to do something later on, we'll do it on the sidelines. But right now, we're going to continue to do what we're doing and make them make adjustments to us. If they don't do it, we're going to win this football game. But you have to realize, first half is over. This is a new ball game. Anacostia have the power and the experience and all the tools over there to come back on us. And we don't want that to happen because we have been here before and we know how to go home with our heads home because we lost football.
Okay, now let's go over the other locker room now with Willie Stewart, who's down 18 now. The offense has not produced. What is he saying to his troops?
Well, I think Willie Stewart, what he's going, first of all, he's going to be very happy. He's going to be very happy that he's only 18 points down because, as you know, 18 points is now a lot of points. Considering that Wilson had the ball almost double the amount of time he's had the ball, he has almost double the amount of yards he had the ball, and the most important fact is his big gun, Pinkley, has yet to had a reception. He knows that Pinkley can explode at any time, and if he gets untrapped. And he's going to tell his people to be patient, hang in there. These are the adjustments he's going to make. He's going to make some adjustments possibly. He's going to try to isolate Pinkley and get him in an isolated situation, get the ball in his hands. I'm looking for him to throw the Pinkley 3 out of 4 times coming down the stretch. So if they do that, and like you said, that height advantage is very important. The other thing you have to remember is that Jamel Jenkins plays center field for Wilson. That means that his responsibility is sideline to sideline. But if they get Pinkley far enough away from him and get him out there on that fade, Jenkins is going to have to make a decision. If he makes a decision to go with Pinkley on that fade, we look for Keith Brennan and Michael Randolph to have very successful days because he's going to throw this football, and he knows he's got to throw this football to get back into this football.
Well, I think that's a good analogy on it, and I also don't want to rule out the fact that Wilson has missed PATs now. It's only a 3-touchdown game right now. I think that could loom to haunt them unless they score more. Second is that the defensive line of Wilson has a chance right now to really dominate this game if they can get pressure on Davis. If they can get more pressure than they got in the first half and still maintain that ratio in the secondary, that could be a turning point in this football game. And if Anacostia can come up with a gadget play, the screen, the draw, things that we just didn't see in the first half.
Well, that's what we have, and if it comes to pass, then we're going to have a fine football game. It's going to be a tight score. If not, somebody's going to go hurt, like you say. Coach Fleming, he wasn't very happy. He was turkey for the last 2 years, so. And not plugging my show, but Dr. Wolf has a talk show, and I'm on Channel 48 with Winter High Sports, and I had an opportunity to have Coach Clement and Coach Stewart, along with Coach James Fields from Easter, on his show a couple of weeks ago. And Clement said, in the presence of the two guys, he said, we're going back to Green Stadium because we left something there. And I asked him, what did you leave? He said, well, we lost the championship. And we just prepared to go back, do what we can, and hopefully we can get this thing. I talked to Coach from Anacostia, Willie Stewart, and Field. Both of these guys just laughed because they knew one of those teams were going to be there, but Fields only Eastern was in the driver's seat at the time. Coach Stewart, he stayed back real cool with that cat-like smile on his face, and he just said, I'm scared. He said, I'm going to hang close. If Eastern fall, I'm going to be there. Eastern fell, and they're here today, so I'm sure he's happy about that, and he's going to try to do what's best for his team, and that is make proper adjustments at halftime. So I'm really looking for a different ball game and a fine football game coming back on Saturday.
Well, getting there is one thing, and you hit something right on the point. I think that they played a whale of a game against Eastern to get here. Wilson has been planning on being here. This is almost destiny for them. They're here on a mission. They got the seniors are in place, and I mean, being at their campus last week and looking at these young men who had to watch everybody else play football for a week or so. It was a look on their face that, hey, we're not overconfident. We know what can happen. We've been favored before and had ruined our Turkey Day. And I saw something about them. They had a game face on a week ago, and that impressed me.
Well, like I said, Coach Fleming, in the book we talked about earlier about tradition, preparation, and bringing your team along. When Coach Fleming and I went in, he was like his rookie year. Our teams were like 1-9, 3-7, and all that stuff. We brought them along. Then we got to the championship, and we just gradually built the program. And it's just gratifying to see right now the things that we had to go through at that point to see where the team is there. And it's great to see.
As you see now,
Coach, right now, I think we're going to appreciate the Anacostia High School marching band as our halftime show continues. We'll be back when the third quarter continues. Harry, we out?
bring on the marching band from Hart Junior High School. They might as well go back here and sit down a few more minutes. At least 10 more minutes. We got 3 more back. We got Wilson and Wilson sitting over there waiting yet. They might as well take a nap. We'll work out some more strategies. Hey man, tell him, man. Somebody give him the word down there. The Hart Junior High School marching band. Under the direction of Mr. Lewis. Got a long half to say, man. Somebody should tell the folks so they jump about this.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to present the heartbeat of Southeast, the marching jets of Hart Junior High School, under the direction of Mrs. Alroy and drum major Christina Price, Hart Junior High School.
Coach, welcome back to this Inter-High Championship game here at Green Stadium. Our first half was, I don't know if it was like we thought it would be. It was 18-0, Wilson over Anacostia. And as Coach has mentioned throughout the entire first half, this is a game that Wilson has dominated in the fact of time of possession and yardage. We look at 23 carries, 158 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Wilson. Randolph passing was 3 for 6 for 33 yards and 1 touchdown. He also carried the ball twice for 22 yards and an additional score. Now Willoughby, Coach, that's the real key right now. He's had 68 yards rushing and 1 touchdown. It gives him 191 yards. Total offense time of possession, 18:05 to Anacostia's 5:55. If you're Anacostia right now, and that's putting a big load on you, what do you do at halftime? They've come out here with different uniforms. They've gone to the blue jerseys, but they've got to get points on the board, Coach.
Right, Doc, I'll tell you something. I don't know why, what's the reasoning behind them going in and changing jerseys, but simply that maybe that's their lucky jersey with some little luck in it or something. But it's simply they have been outplayed in the first half by Wilson. As you said, Wilson had the ball 18 minutes and 5 seconds. They have had the ball only 5 minutes and 55 seconds. Once again, their total offense is 191 yards for Wilson and 92 for Anacostia. So that alone itself, with the score 18-0, and Wilson is ahead, that tells us that Wilson has come in this game, talking to Coach Clemens, he's doing exactly what he wanted to do. That was keep the ball away from Pinckney and Davis and use the clock real well, score some points, not sit on him, but be very cautious about what he's doing. Yeah, going into the second half, I find he can't be that cautious anymore simply because Anacostia is in a position like they're backed into the corner and they're going to have to come out throwing that football and try to get some points if they're going to win this football game. Wilson is going to have to maintain what they're doing. They're going to have to upgrade their standards of playing. They have to go to another level because Anacostia undoubtedly is going to be after them. And if they're going to make any mistakes and things, Anacostia is going to take advantage of them. Hopefully, if they're going to prevail in this game, this will be their first championship since 1930, they're going to have to come out like it's a brand new football game. There are no points on the scoreboard, and they're going to have to come out and play a better half than they played before. Because playing just like they did and getting 18 points with all of those breaks, that's not a lot of points.
Boy, you talk about first championship since the mid-30s now. This is not a team that has not been knocking on the door. Man, they have actually been on the outsides of the party, but yet not gotten in.
That's right.
Okay, let's talk about this extended halftime. We had a tremendous showing from several bands in the Inter-High. What does this do to you, though, if you're on the Wilson side? You've had an extended halftime, you've 18 points up, and your team is on a roll.
Well, Doc, you know, being an athlete yourself, a lot of times when you're in college and high school, that halftime come in, and that halftime show, you can cool down, and you have to get that momentum. Like with the Redskins, you know, that second half, they come out, in the first half, it's almost like they're feeling their way through, and then the second half, they come out different ball clubs. Wilson, hopefully, they can stay hot, because they are hot right now, and Anacostia want to get hot. I'm looking for a real fine ball game this second half, and like I said before, God has blessed us, He put more sun on us there, and Anacostia changed his jersey. Wilson seems to be lining up over there, loosening up pretty good. Everybody look confident as I look across the field. I usually know when Coach Clemens is pretty worried, but right now he's pretty relaxed. So, you know, anything can happen.
Well, you know, we talk about Air Anacostia, and I think at this point, second half, they're going to have to get that football in the air, and it's going to also have to be done effectively. Keith Davis had a sound first half, but there was some passes I know he'd like to get back, especially those 2 interceptions.
Right. Those really hurt him because he threw those balls. They were intercepted deep down in his territory when he possibly could have got a reception and possibly scored a touchdown or got some points out of it with a field goal or something. But nevertheless, he didn't get them, and we're here in the second half and about to get underway with a fresh 12 minutes, and the score is 18-0 coming from Green Stadium on the campus of Howard University.
Wilson High School, about to say 18 minutes or so away, or 24 minutes away from their first championship, a championship that, man, you just know that these kids want, especially the kids who've been in for 3 years, who have started, who have felt that agony of defeat. And it looks like if they stay consistent right now, they may very well be in the driver's seat. The second half is about to get underway, and we will turn it over to Shelley. Maestro, take it away.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. I think I'm going to take off my jacket here so I can get a little more comfortable here. Mother Nature is starting to cooperate somewhat. The sun is shining and generating a little heat here. So they'll switch into the field now. The Tigers will defend the south end zone to start the second half. The Indians will defend the north end zone. Anacostia will receive Nate Jackson to do the kicking honors for the Tigers. Short kick return from the 16. Fumble. And who has the ball still loose? And I believe Wilson has it. Kenny Coleman, number 33, has it for the Tigers. Will they give it to him? No word as of yet. Kenny Coleman was down there on top of it. They're saying yes. Wilson's ball, 1st and 10 from the Anacostia 28-yard line.
What a big play. Frank Price makes the call, and that is about the worst thing that could have happened to Anacostia. Let's take a look at that on the replay. And you see we've got a little glare here on our screen. It looked like he gets his hands on it, just drops it. The ball is tumbling over. And, man, that is just bad, bad luck for the Indians. They had to get on that ball.
Maybe bad luck for Anacostia, but it's good luck for Wilson. And they got the ball on the 30-yard line of Anacostia. And this is a golden opportunity to put this game just a little bit further away to assure that their first Inter-High championship in over 30 years.
Quincy Randolph, 5'11", 170-pound senior, is your quarterback for the Tigers. He hands off to Willoughby. Willoughby cuts to inside the 25 and is brought down at about the 24-yard line. Good game by Willoughby. It'll be 2nd down and short coming up for the Tigers.
Real good, strong run that time. 38 comes up. Rodney Smith makes a tackle. Boy, you know, Willoughby sure runs high. I sure like to see what this kid would be like if he get a little overhead, a little lean to himself.
I think what happens when he gets to go to college, and like I said, he matures, he gets under the guidance of a real fine running back coach. Not to say that the coach over at Wilson not a fine running back coach, but once he matures into a better system, I'm sure he's gonna get those things that he's lacking right now because he has a lot of ability.
Either that coach or he gets hit hard enough that he'll change that style.
He's gonna get killed.
2nd down and a tray for the Tigers. Randolph fumbles the ball, but because this is AstroTurf, he gets it right back into his hands. It'll be 2nd down. He even got a yard or two, and it'll be 2nd down and short, a 3rd down rather, and short coming up for the Tigers.
Well, I hate AstroTurf, but I guess that's one time that turf works to the benefit of the players to get that bounce.
It'll be 3rd down and a yard coming up for Wilson. 10-13 remaining in the 3rd period. The Tigers trying to pad on to their 18-point lead. Quincy Randolph from out of the eye. Receivers line up to the far side. Randolph looks to his left, now rolls to his right, and ball is incomplete, almost intercepted by the Indians. And it'll be 4th down and a yard.
Well, it's not a smooth play by Quincy. That time, he just threw that up for grabs. He really was out of sync, didn't know where he wanted to go with that. And the Indians missed a good opportunity. They need a pick right now. They need a fumble. They need something to swing the momentum of this football game.
Coach, do you go for the tray, or do you go for it on 4th and 1?
No, you have to go for it, and I'll tell you why. Because it's early in the 3rd half, you're up. You only need 2 yards, and most important, you have Willoughby back there in the backfield, and you should be just 2 yards if your line get any kind of surge at all.
4th down and 1 coming up for the Tigers. Randolph hands off to Willoughby. Willoughby bulldozes his way forward for Wilson. 1st down inside the 25 to about the 21-yard line. 1st down as the drive continues for the Tigers from the Anacostia 20-yard line. They're going to spot it.
Pinckney was at the bottom of that pile, Coach, but he didn't make the play. They really needed somebody to come through on that. That was a big, big mistake.
One thing I find that the linemen of Anacostia are just coming off the ball too high. They're not staying down low to get underneath of these guys to stop that penetration. And Wilson's line is just blasting off the ball and controlling the offensive line at this point.
Is that a problem you find, Coach? It's tough to get kids to understand at this level?
I think it's very much a problem because their natural instinct is to come up.
Randolph on a keeper inside the 20. Tries to pitch the ball. It's in the end zone. They're going to say touchback, so it'll be Anacostia's ball, 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line of Anacostia. A big break for the Indians.
I think that was a bad play on Randolph's part. Once he broke clean, he was only 2 yards from the goal line. Willoughby didn't have the proper relationship from him in terms of pitching that ball out on the option. And here we go, take a look at it again. As you can see, Quincy Randolph, he's up near the 4-yard line there. If he keeps the ball, he goes in the end zone. If he keeps the ball, he's in the end zone. He has a block out in front of him, and to the life of me, I can't understand why he would want to pitch that ball like that.
Was a situation where he didn't want to be selfish. That was a great team move, but bad individual decision on that. You just can't get careless with the ball inside the red area. You talked about that earlier about Anacostia's offense had moved in between the 20s. You know, it takes a certain kind of quarterback to recognize that. He's that kind of guy. He made a bad decision. That was 2 bad plays by him in one series.
That's the first turnover of the ball game for the Tigers. 1st and 10, Anacostia from their own 20-yard line.
And you said earlier, Doctor, something might come back to haunt him. That might be what comes back to get him.
Keith Davis is your quarterback. Davis under pressure, gets the ball away, deflected, and the pass falls incomplete. 2nd down and 10 coming up, and Davis is slow getting. It's another.
We got another
slow
angle,
getting up.
Shelley, of that previous play. If we'll get a coming right up on your screen. Now watch this. Here you see to the left of your screen, looks like well, that goes back to that 1st down. It was a 3rd or 4th and 1. That was a strong run by Willoughby.
2nd down and 10 coming up for the Indians from their own 20-yard line. Anacostia trying to get that goose egg off their side of the scoreboard. Keith Davis is your quarterback for the Indians. Davis pumps once, got a man open. That's Randolph, complete to the 30-yard line, and that'll be it. But it's enough for a 1st down, or at least he'll be close to it, to allow for measurement for the Indians.
That was a big miss by Wilson because they needed that to sort of put a little bit more clinches on this game. And to get down to the 5-yard line and to have something happen like that is just not good at all.
No, it isn't. I think sometimes you can get too anxious again. You know, you haven't won this thing in 3 years. You come out of halftime, you got a lead, and all of a sudden you start pressuring yourself. That was not a good offensive series by Wilson. Randolph did not look his normal, calm, cool, collective self, and that can happen, man. That monkey's on your back.
Randolph was about a half-yard shy of it. It's 3rd down and less than a yard. On the quarterback keeper, Davis has his 1st down and more, and just falls down across the 35. Flags again. Well, it's going to be a late hit called against Wilson, and Omar Saxon is protesting the call.
Two things here, not to belabor the point, but going back to the original play with Randolph, it was surprising to me, Shelley and Doc, because Randolph is a running quarterback. You know, it was his natural instinct to keep that ball and go in. That was the first thing. Now, to get back to where we are now, these are the type of things that start breaking down that cause you to lose. You see the change come, the momentum start to swing. You get a penalty here, they get a big play here, before you know it, they have a touchdown, and they're back in this ball game.
No doubt about it. Omar Saxon, who's a terrific football player right now, has got to play discipline. That's too much emotion. He was late. He was wrong. He's got an 18-point lead right now. He's played great defense. Now you need composure. That's what you need when those seniors on that field to settle things down, because I can guarantee you if Frank Price is officiating the game, you're not going to get away with any kind of garbage.
That's only the 2nd penalty of the game against the Tigers. Anacostia only has 2 infractions as well. 1st and 10 from midfield. Davis throws across the middle, almost completed, and then almost intercepted by the Tigers. The intended receiver for the Indians, I believe, was Randolph, and almost coming up with the INT for the Tigers was number 14, Van Johnson, if I'm not mistaken.
Johnson was there for Randolph. That's his 2nd drop now. Randolph has sure hands. You said a week ago you saw him catch a ton of passes, make big plays, but right now they need him to come back of age.
Exactly. I'm surprised they haven't gone to Brennan, number 84, as of yet, because he was very productive in the first half in catching and running the ball over the middle. So let's look to see if they go to him.
Flags on the dead ball.
Something else, too, on that last play, we had Tim Stokes for Wilson. He's a senior, 6'1", 185-pound cornerback, Doc, and we talked about that position as being a cornerback. And Tim Stokes comes from pretty good stock. As we know, his father played for the Dallas Cowboys. Same name, by the way, Tim Stokes Sr. And Notre Dame, I was told Notre Dame is very interested in him and coming up there and being a quarterback. And he has good size for a quarterback. He was 6'1", 185 pounds.
Oh, that's real good. And again, you know, he's got good instincts. People want people with good football instincts.
Here's Davis looking to his right. Davis rolling to the right now, gets the ball away. He's got a man open, underthrows it, and the ball just goes out of bounds, incomplete. The Indians finally starting to get the ball moving forward for a change, as they got a couple of penalties to get them inside Wilson territory, and now they have themselves facing a 2nd down and 5 situation from the Wilson 45-yard line.
Coach, this is when you need a draw. You need that draw, you need that little lag screen, or you need a quick hit and play. I just don't think you can line up and be this predictable against a good defense, especially you mentioned Sim Stokes, who's playing pretty good bump right now on Pinckney.
That's right. He's up there.
Now they're changing it and saying it's 3rd and 5. I don't know if that yard marker is right. I think it's 2nd and 5, but in any case, Davis throws a little slant pattern, and it is incomplete. Big defensive play by number 99 for the Tigers. That's Gordon. Gordon with a deflection at the last second prevented not only the reception, but what would have been another 1st down for Anacostia.
And that was a big play, but it was a big miss once again by Mike Randolph. And I've never seen Randolph miss this many passes in one game since I've been watching all Anacostia play the entire season.
But they're calling defensive holding against the Tigers, so that'll give the Indians the 1st down any case.
Once again, Doc, these are the things that lead to defeat. You go down, you don't get a touchdown, you come back, they get a couple penalties and a couple big plays. Before you know it, they're in the end zone.
Well, again, you know, this game's going to be called right. I mean, and you want the kids to be able to play, but it's got to be done by the groundworks of this football. And the officiating right now, so far, you know, has been excellent.
The Tigers have now picked up 3 penalties in this drive. Remember, Anacostia started at their own 20. Davis looking to his right. He's got a man open. Now he's trying to cut back to the middle. Davis is off to the races. Inside the 30, brought down at about the 27-yard line, close to another Anacostia 1st down. It'll be 2nd down and short.
What a hit. Was that 58? Was that Arthur?
No, that's Saxon, I believe.
Omar Saxon, he's down.
And they can't afford to lose him.
Boy, that was a big hit. I hope we get another shot at it, get a chance to take a look at that. You know, we really haven't had a lot of big hits in this football game.
Haven't had a lot of injuries, and we're happy about that.
Okay, let's take another look at it, Coach. Here, Davis on a roll now. He's looking downfield. I mean, obviously, they're behind. He's rolling now. What I don't like is this. When you start lolling, you know that the secondary right now is doing a great job. That would have been a coverage sack, but they missed it. Here, Davis, watch the top of your screen. He decides to make a run, and all of a sudden, bam, he's hit on the side. And, you know, that play, I don't even know if he saw it coming.
And Saxon trots off the field on this.
Okay. Take a look again, another angle, Coach. Call it.
58. Number 58 for the...
Yeah, that was Arthur. Yeah, Arthur Clemens. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Good hit by Clemens.
Well, that's 205. Yeah, that's right. I thought that was Sir Arthur.
Saxon trots off the field on his own power, and the Anacostia fans here on the near side bleachers are starting the tomahawk chop. The tomahawk chop. I thought the baseball season was over. Atlanta Braves were 2nd down and about a deuce. Davis gives it to Taylor. Taylor, big hole inside the 20-yard line for another Anacostia 1st down.
I feel something happening here, fellas. I feel this little shift in momentum now, and it all started with that bad play with Quincy Randolph down there.
Derek Gordon makes the play. Let's take another look at it, guys. Here this time, the handoff, Taylor, a basic dive, good up front blocking. You see that play in there? He's running right upfield, going north-south. There, 99, Derek Gordon comes in to make what looked like it could have been a saving touchdown tackle.
1st and 10 for the Indians from the Wilson 17-yard line. Now the fans here are really fired up here on the Anacostia side. Davis looking to his right, throws a little screen pass. It's complete to Randolph. Randolph gets about 3 yards. It'll be 2nd down and about 7.
You know, you can believe anything you want, but I'm telling you, they're going to throw that ball to Pinckney for a touchdown as the score's I'm looking down on that field. And it's possibly going to come on a fade, to the corner, and that should be a good duel simply because Tim Stokes, the best cover man, and one of the best cover mans in the entire league, will be covering Pinckney, and they come out wide to the left.
2nd and 7 for the Indians from
Jamal Jenkins is also over there, too.
From the Wilson 15, here's Davis making his call. Davis looking to the left. There it is, Pinckney. He scored it. Touchdown.
Coach, he called it.
And you know what's going to come down in here. You just knew that they were trying to get that fade in there and throw that basketball pass up to Pinckney and have Pinckney go up and over everybody's head and get the touchdown.
Lavelle Pinckney, 6'5", 210-pound senior wide receiver, gets the Anacostia fans back in the game, and the Indians now draw within 2 touchdowns, 18-6, with the conversion to come.
Coach, if I didn't know better, I would sure think that Willie Stewart and you had a little microphone lead up here. You called that play, and with good reason. You've gone up against it enough to know.
And I'll tell you something, it was obvious. And the other thing, too, that 6 points that they didn't get down here, that possibly 7 or even possibly 8 points, looms very large now.
The Indians go for 2, but they're calling the play dead before the ball is snapped. And we may have Wilson being lined up in the neutral zone. Illegal procedure called against Anacostia, but it was before the ball was snapped, so the Indians will have to try again from about their own 7-yard line.
What's so strange about it, that was an 80-yard drive on 9 plays. It took 3 minutes and 18 seconds, but most important on that drive, they had 2 penalties for 30 yards, Doc, and what do you think about that?
Well, I think it's a good point. Shelley just put over a very interesting note that Wilson has been penalized 30 yards in that drive. So, you know, you give a good football team an advantage, a football team that was down on itself, I thought, at the end of the first half, and all of a sudden, that sleeping giant is awakened.
Keith Davis is going to play it on the safe side. He's calling a TO with 5:53 remaining in the 3rd period, as the Anacostia Indians will try to salvage this conversion attempt.
Okay, let's take a look at that touchdown play. You called it, Coach. You said it would be a fade. And I say, hey, there's Jenkins and there's Roberts of double coverage, or Stokes, rather. The ball is thrown well. You've got a terrific athlete who is going to get up. You watch right here coming in your screen at the bottom left-hand side. He just flat will out-leap these 2 guys and catch the football.
Is that a cover for Sports Illustrated or what? Right.
Boy,
there?
that's what every coach in the Division I football, Division I AA, all over wants to see. Let's take another look at it. We isolate right now on Pinckney. He runs what is called either semi-slant or fade route. He's looking back in. Ain't no secret where he's going. This is just great athleticism.
Now, I'll tell you something, Doc and Shelley. One thing we used to do was, when we're down inside of the red zone, we have a guy like Pinckney. What I would tell my guys was, remember, he has to go through the end zone to get a touchdown. I want you back on the end zone line, and what I would do is take the linebacker, drop him out to take away the quick slant, forcing him down.
Here's Davis on a 2-point conversion, gets the pass away, and it's picked up by Van Johnson for the Tigers. So the score will stand at 18-6 in favor of Wilson, with 5:53 remaining in the 3rd period.
Yeah, like I was saying, you get him down here, you put your guys back, you have double coverage on him, take your outside linebacker, you tell him to drop out to take away the slant, that way he can't come in there and get the quick slant to run through you. Force him down the sideline, he goes down and have a guy waiting for him in the end zone and have another guy actually covering him man-to-man for 10 yards. That takes away. That time, Jamal Jenkins, number 20, the safety, got hung up a little bit in the inside. He watched the play develop, and he gave Pinckney a chance to run up on him. And once the receiver runs up on you, you are no longer at advantage. They have the advantage over you. You have to defend that.
Coach, I think what you're saying is that you just are not going to let Lavelle Pinckney beat you. And no matter what, if you had to put 3 people over there, Pinckney's not going to beat you. Let's take another look at that one more time at that touchdown. It was a terrific play. We're back at the goal line again. Both guys are there in position. Stokes is there. Jenkins is there, but again, they didn't have that. They had a good inside-out ratio, but somebody needed to deny him from going straight upfield.
Not only that, but the scouting report says simply, when you get inside of the 20, they go to a fade to Lavelle Pinckney, and you wanted to protect against that because they've been doing it all year.
Here's Jenkins on a return from his 20 across the 30, and is finally wrestled out of bounds at the far side 33-yard line. The Tigers will take over 1st and 10 in pretty decent field position from their own 34-yard line, we'll say.
And let's remember, there's a lot of time left in this game. It'll be 17 minutes and 12 seconds. Simply 5 minutes and 12 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. We have a total of 15 minutes in the 4th quarter. So there's a lot of time with only a 12-point difference in this ball game. And it could have been a difference, a 6-point swing when we go down here and Quincy Randolph fumbles the ball in the end zone.
Well, you know, I've always said that the defense's best friend is a good offense. And now let's watch the Anacostia India defense and see if they've got a little spark now and see if they can stop this potent running attack of the Wilson Tigers.
First and 10 for Quincy Randolph and his Tigers from out of the eye. From their own 34, Randolph hands off to the up back, who was met immediately. I guess that answers your question, huh, Doc?
Unbelievable. Been running that same play all day, picking up 4 or 5 yards per crack, but all of a sudden, momentum is now donned that blue jersey. Hey, maybe it's the blue jerseys, right?
We're talking about the luck in the blue, huh?
No gain. We'll call it second down and 10 coming up for the Tigers. And now the Anacostia fans are starting to wave here on the near side bleachers.
But the same way when Anacostia was down, Coach Willie Stewart never panicked. He stayed right on track. He didn't walk him down sidelines and go crazy. Coach Fleming has to do the same thing, not panic, but keep his game plan going and not get too far away from it.
Randolph hands off to his bread and butter man, Stephen Willoughby. Willoughby trying to fight his way forward for yardage. He gets a good 3, maybe 4 yards. It'll be third down and call it about 5 coming up for the Tigers.
Coach, you spent a number of years coaching on this level. Isn't it amazing that when kids get motivated in terms of how they play defense, they had 6 hats on the ball at times. People were in pursuit. This, all of a sudden, is a different defensive team.
Because you realize that you have a chance. You realize that if you're going to win, time is running out. You must do something now. That's why when you get a team down on this level, you have to jump on them, go for the juggler quick, and stay on top of them, and demoralize them. And that's the fact of, we talked about earlier, being a defensive player and that intimidation.
The Tigers are 2 for 7 on third down conversions. They're facing 3rd and 5. Willoughby's got a little opening there. Cuts inside. Willoughby has his first down and more, and is finally forced out of bounds at the 47-yard line of Wilson.
Kind of looked like old Walter Payton coming around that corner, didn't he? Now, he's a good talent. That was a big, big move for Wilson. Let's take another look at it. Now, as you watch right now, Randolph here this time, the give, I formation, gives to Willoughby. Willoughby immediately goes for the outside. I'd kind of like to see him back press that a little harder, but he didn't have a chance to, but he slashes upfield, got good vision, good power right there. That's just all him.
Yeah. Good leg spin, good leg drive. And that's important to being a running back, is keep those legs turning. Once those legs stop moving, you're dead in the water.
First and 10 for the Tigers from their own 48-yard line, as Anacostia fans and Wilson fans are having a battle of the wave now. As soon as one side finishes the wave, the other starts it. Here's Randolph, meanwhile, back on the gridiron. Hands off to Coleman. Coleman trying to spin his way forward for another Tiger first down. He's inside the 45. It'll be second down and short from about the 44-yard line.
That was a nice little trap up the middle. That was a reverse handoff by Quincy, and Coleman got the ball and got 8 yards out of it. So maybe they'll move this ball right on back down the field, Doc. But the point is, you can go up and down the field all day, but if you don't cross the goal line, it means nothing.
Yeah, they're going to have to score that time. Chang Frazier, number 52, man, he had a whale of a block. Again, those guys up front, we haven't talked enough about them right now, but they've done a great job. McCann, Frazier, they've done a real good job that time on the right side, as well as Saxon.
Second down and a deuce for the Tigers. Randolph hands off to Willoughby again. Willoughby trying to turn the corner on the far side, inside the 40, and is wrestled down at about the 37-yard line. First and 10 for Wilson. And they'll momentarily stop the clock to move the chains, and they'll restart it as soon as they set the ball.
It's amazing how quick Willoughby, at 6'1", 215 pounds, can get to the outside. He gets there real quick, and he really has to make these defensive ends work overtime. I'm watching Lavelle Pinckney, who is an excellent guy. We've been talking about him all day, but he's working Pinckney to death.
Oh, he is. Well, he's a definite college prospect. And again, I just hope that both sides of the field, these guys, put that effort in the classroom. Because, man, if you get those SATs and you study and you pay a price in the classroom, you can have a bright future.
Randolph puts the ball on the ground to Moore, and Moore spins his way forward for a couple of yards. It'll be, they're going to give him about 5 yards.
He belabors the point, but Coach Fleming, so far, is sticking with the game plan, and that is run the ball, keep the ball out of the hands of Anacostia, and Keith Davis and Lavelle Pinckney, so they can't get that thing in the end zone. Because we just saw a few minutes ago how quickly they can get that ball down the field.
Oh, no doubt. Right now, the clock's their best friend. Everybody's watching the clock right here on the side of Wilson right now at 2:26 remaining in the third quarter. If they can just keep the ball and not turn it over, not hurt themselves. So far, with the exception of that last series, they had played pretty smart football.
Right.
We have an injured Indian down on the field. Can't make out his number as of yet. And we've just been informed that Stephen Willoughby, 12 carries, 102 yards. So Stephen Willoughby, we're not even to the fourth period yet, and already he's rushed for over 100 yards. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Ed Hill and the Howard University Sports Information staff for helping us out today.
Ed Hill, my man, he's effective. He's always got the right numbers, you know.
Oh, yeah. Ed himself is a product of the D.C. Public Schools. He's a Cardozo graduate. And I know he'd rather have his clerks in today's ball game. But we are having an exciting ball game nonetheless. Wilson Tigers trying to go for the school's first ever city title game, looking to make history here today. Anacostia, on the flip side of the coin, they're trying to establish, I guess, what you could call dynasty over there in Southeast D.C. They're looking for their third city title game in the last 4 years, fourth in this past decade. As we see the injured Indian getting up. That's number 74 for Anacostia, Dwight Rowland, as he gets a nice little hand as he trots off the field on his own power.
And he's a big guy, too. He's 6'4", 245-pound tackle, and he's a senior. So he might be one of the players that Coach Steve Wilson up here at Howard might be taking a peek at, because he is a large guy.
Well, I think the Buffalo Soldier defense could sure use some help getting some kids in here. No, really to stop people.
Right.
Because they have a great tradition here at Howard, but they didn't get the job done.
2nd down and 5, and we have a stoppage of play. Some finger pointing by the Wilson line, and the official is saying, yeah, Anacostia lined up in the neutral zone. This may give Wilson another first down, depending on where they spot this. Encroachment is called against the Indians. It'll move the ball to the Anacostia 27-yard line. Is it enough for a first? Let's see how they mark it. They're saying, yes, it is. 1st and 10 for Wilson from the Anacostia 26. That's the Tigers' 12th first down of the ball game. As we come inside, 2 minutes remaining in the third period. Clock is running. Randolph looking up top, looking for Johnson, and overthrows him. Good coverage by the Indians secondary. It'll be 2nd down and 10 coming up for Anacostia. You know, I was just getting ready to say that if Wilson scores on his drive, they're using up this clock pretty thoroughly, that time will start to become a factor against Anacostia. But instead of putting the ball on the ground and using up the clock, as I mentioned a minute ago, we're almost to the fourth period. Randolph goes up top and stops the clock with 1:47 remaining in the period.
You know, Shelley and Doc, as we talked about how great this day looked, it's an excellent day for football, and we just like to say that the crowd up here today is over 7,000, 7,246 to be exact, and that's a lot of people to watch a high school football game.
Randolph does put the ball on the ground this go around. Moore, the ball carrier. Moore does a little spin move and gets a good 5 or 6 yards. It'll be 3rd down and short.
And that's a lot of people waiting to get a whole lot of turkey legs. There's a whole lot of 7,000 turkey legs going to be eaten when we get it.
You ain't lying. I'm going to say I hate to be that bird at home, boy, because these people, I'm sitting up here now with an attitude. I'm thinking, I don't even want a hot dog today. I don't want nothing at halftime, right? I'm thinking about, I know my wife, she has laid it out. Boys, I'm looking at some collard greens. We're looking at a dressing that'll knock your socks out. I'm thinking about that cranberry. You know,
I think when I leave it,
I'm just thinking about, I'm going to hurt you up here in this booth now for the fourth quarter because you'll be thinking about that gravy.
Third down and about 5 for the Tigers. Willoughby tries to scoot inside and is stopped short of the first down. It'll be 4th down and about a deuce coming up for the Tigers.
Yeah, I'm going to follow you home. That sounds like something that I can live with.
Again,
yeah.
Again, a big decision facing the Tigers. Coach, you used to be the offensive coordinator. Do you go for the field goal, or you got a 2-touchdown lead right now? Do you go for the field goal, or?
This is not a decision, Shelley. You get in the eye. You do the same thing that got you the first down before. You get the ball to your big guy. You get a good surge off the line of scrimmage, and you attack at a point where you're gonna get 2 yards. Anacostia is no guess for Anacostia. All they have to do is get to Willoughby before Willoughby can get to the first down.
Keep in mind, though, Anacostia has already got a little momentum established. If it backfires for Wilson right here, it could be a big factor for them, against them. Willoughby tries to push his way forward. The Wilson player says he has it.
Not only that, but look at those offensive linemen. Those linemen are like 4 yards downfield. That means if they move 4 yards downfield, Willoughby going to get at least 3. And that's what happened, and they pick up the first down.
And Willoughby does get the first down number 13 for the Tigers inside the 15-yard line. First and 10 for Wilson from the Anacostia 14 as the clock runs down inside 5 seconds, 4, and Wilson will not get another play off before the quarter will come to a close. And we have completed 3 periods of play from Howard University's Green Stadium. The score is Wilson 18, Anacostia 6.
Also have a special thanks to Dr. Gil Hoffman of the D.C. Public Schools and School Board Chairman David Hall, who made this TV coverage possible, and, of course, our own guru, Harry Davis of the Broadcast Factory. I want to thank everybody that's made this possible. This is great. Imagine, guys, I don't know about you guys, but I wasn't on TV in high school. I sure would have liked to have been. I mean, we won a championship back at San Ana Valley High School in California, and I'd have been tickled pink to have had some TV coverage.
I'll tell you something. I go back further than that, Doc, not talking about how old I am, but we had those little reel-to-reel joints, and I remember us being on radio back in the championship games, and man, we just sit around the radio and we were listening to it.
Okay, we got to take a break. We'll be back as the fourth quarter of action continues here at Green Stadium.
Stand out. And so when you say you didn't know about it,
There you go for the two-point conversion. Evidently, Coach Fleming is not going to change his mind. He's going to go for the PAT after all. And now Quincy Randolph is saying, I don't know, let's go for the two-point conversion, or at least let's think about it. So he's going to call the TO with 11:56 remaining in the period.
That was an 11-play drive, covered 66 yards. It took 5 minutes and 48 seconds, culminating by Wilson on a 14-yard scamper for a touchdown.
Well, Doc, a few minutes ago, acknowledged the Broadcast Factory crew. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the Shell Shock Productions crew for helping out with the broadcast of today's game. As a matter of fact, we're preparing for the basketball season. Doc, we got the Dunbar Crimson Tide, the defending inter-high champions, 27-4 last year. They're going to be defending their inter-high title. Well, at least they'll be opening up their season on at the Kenner tournament at Georgetown University, December the 6th. They'll be taking on the St. Albans Bulldogs out of the IAC. It's Dunbar and St. Albans, December the 6th. We'll have that game for you on DCTV Cable 34 Sunday night, December the 15th at 7 o'clock p.m.
Well, I'm sure going to try to make that one because I think high school basketball, that is my favorite spectator sport. I'm a gym rat, man. I love watching it, so I'll try to get out. Is that going to be in Medina?
That's right.
Okay, in Medina, and I'll save me a seat. And I'll try to be
Will
there.
do.
All right.
Will do. As a matter of fact, our telecast for next week is a encore telecast from the DC Coaches All-Star Football game from this past July. That's next Wednesday night at 8 on DCTV Cable 34. Here come the Tigers on a two-point conversion. Randolph got a man open, incomplete, and the score will stand at 24-6 with 11:56 left in the ball game. Again, will it come back to haunt them?
That was just being too overcautious. So all they had to do is put the ball out there. I think he was so surprised that Willoughby popped open so clear until he just lobbed it over there and it didn't work.
Well, there's still hope for Anacostia. Every time they make a mistake, it still leaves a little crack of light in that doorway. Again, this era Anacostia is going to have to come of age, or Wilson High School is going to reach it first.
Yeah, well, Coach Fleming said on the talk show that he left something up here and asked what it was, and he said it was a championship, and they were prepared to come back and challenge whoever it was they had to for it. So thus far, he seemed to be doing a pretty good job with 11 minutes and 56 seconds left. It's the Tigers 24 and the Indians of Anacostia 6.
Jackson will have the ensuing kickoff. Gets off a good end-over-end kick from his own 10-yard line. Pickney is not going to even try to fake the reverse. Again, he's handling the ball like a loaf of bread. He breaks off a tackle, though, still on his feet. Pickney is off to the races. Pickney crosses the 30, the 35, fumbles the ball, recovered by Anacostia. And there, I mentioned earlier about Pickney. I don't like the way he carries the ball, and there's a good example of why I don't.
Big plays have to be made by big players, and I think that you just can't underestimate the fact that he recognizes somebody's got to do something. And I go with him on that. Let's take another look at that, Coach. What do you think about it? I take my hat off to the young man because he's down right now. It's his last game here, and he's doing something about it.
But he's running. He's limping. Something seems to be wrong with his leg. He's limping a little bit. And he's, as you say, Doc, he's trying to make something happen because his team is in that position where they have to do something. But I have to agree again. He has to tuck that ball away. No matter how great he is, those things are not going to keep him in anybody's leg too long.
First
No
and
doubt.
10 from their own 40. Davis throws a little slant to Pickney. Pickney is down at about the 41. A flag on a play. As it stands now, it's a gain of 1. And, Coach, I got to agree with you. I think Pickney is a little bit hurt in his leg area somewhere.
Probably a little fatigue, may have turned an ankle. There's nothing going to keep him out of the game. I guarantee he's going to hang with it.
A legal procedure is called against the Indians. That'll back them up 5 yards. So the Indians pick up their third penalty of the ball game unofficially. It'll be 1st and 15 from their own 35.
I look down on the field and I see Anacostia Willis Stewart. He seems to have a little bit more urgency about things. As you look up at that clock, he has 11 minutes and 12 seconds before this ball game is over. And if he's going to get it done, that's how much time he has.
For some reason or another, they didn't mark off the yardage. I don't know if they waved off the penalty or not. Oh, maybe they declined it. So it'll be 2nd down and 9 after the Tigers decline the penalty. And it may come back to haunt them because the Indians come right back with a little slant pattern that's almost close to 1st down yardage for Anacostia as the Indians now set up in a hurry-up offense.
Well, I think that's a good move. I'd go. They got to get to something in a hurry. But they still can't get off their game plan, and they've just got to get it as Wilson presents it. Take what they give you.
That's right. As you can see, Wilson has gone to a too deep. And we know that too deep is vulnerable to that fade. You know, Garrett Clark is good for that. Give you that inside move, and he's back out there.
Yes, one play away.
Off to the races.
As you can see from the chains as they bring it out, that it's just a little bit shy by the hair of my chinny chin chin. And seeing how I didn't shave this morning, maybe that's not a good scale to use, but I think you all get the general idea. It's going to be 3rd down and short coming up for the Indians. Only one setback. Davis to pass. On 3rd and short, under pressure, gets the ball away. Pass is complete. Flag on the play. 1st down for the Indians as it stands now as Lavelle Pickney comes up with the, that's number 96, 86, for the Indians with the reception. And that is Clintus Rice, But as I mentioned, there is a flag on the play, and they're calling defensive holding against Wilson.
Taking a look at that, I like the way he caught that ball with his hands. Now, you look early on, you see Davis wants to go right out to Pinkney, but Pinkney was double covered. I think he hung too long on Pinkney. Now he sees he's got to look upfield. He finds an open receiver, throws off that back foot. That was a terrific throw going across his body. Great hands. If you're out there watching, and the kids are watching fundamentals, catch the ball with your hands. He did a super job on that. Big-time football play.
Yeah, that's right. He's got those hands right out in front of him.
Now, the Indians, will they take the penalty? No, they won't, so the 1st down will stand. 1st and 10 from the Wilson 37-yard line with 10:25 remaining in regulation.
Here we have another angle of that we picked up on late, and we see that, again, it was just a great athletic play. Davis has got to make things happen. Anacostia needs points.
Davis looking to go up top again. Good protection. Davis now under heavy rush. Gets the ball away. Looking long. Got a man open. Incomplete. Good defensive play by Jenkins for the Tigers to knock it down. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
The ball was intended for Brannon. Keith Brannon had 5 catches for 77 yards on the day. Right now, Coach, let's take another look at this on a replay. Now here, Davis is dropped back. He's looking deep. I don't really think he has a receiver open. He's going for broke, maybe a little bit too soon. You can't afford to have a ball picked off. It's on his hands, but great defensive play that time, I think, by Jamel Jenkins of Wilson.
Excellent play. But you know, that wasn't a badly thrown ball. You know, it just was thrown where Jenkins could defend against it.
Still forcing it.
Right.
2nd down 10. Fumble on the exchange, and it may still be loose, but I think Davis fell back on it. And let's see how they rule this. They're saying yes, he did. So it will be third down after a loss of a yard. 3rd and 11 will face the Indians.
An offensive person, man. I mean, my forte. I'm still looking for that screen. I think right now, if they had some misdirection, something different, they could break this.
They're going to take me on a slant. Oh, here was a slant. Well, wasn't technically, but it's tight end.
And he got hit as soon as the ball reached him, but he wouldn't have had enough for a first down in any case. As a matter of fact, it's a good thing he did drop the ball because it stops the clock. So it will be 4th down and about 11 yards coming up for the Indians.
Now, I'd fake the Pinckney, and I'd go backside. I'd look for right now Mike Randolph. Randolph has got to get in this play.
Davis pumps once. Going for all the marbles, going to the end zone. It's intercepted in the end zone. It will be a touchback for Wilson. Van Johnson comes up with the INT. 1st and 10, Wilson from their own 20-yard line.
Very bad play. Good play, he caught the ball, bad play. That's a 40-yard loss for Wilson because if he knocks the ball down, Wilson gets the ball back up here on the 40-yard line, but since he intercepted, the ball only come up to the 20, so we have a 20-yard loss for Wilson on that particular play.
I agree with you, Coach, but let's take you back to high school now. Let's make you 17 years old on TV. But you're going to drop that ball. Let's take another look at this. He throws this up right now all for broke. And I think that, again, I don't like that on a 4th down and 11. I want to get the 11. The ball's not there. 3 people on it. Let's take another angle. We got another shot on this. And as you'll see, it's 3-on-1. Coach, you just don't go inside right now on 3-on-1. Not on 4th and 11. A little contact right there. Frank Price and his group didn't deem that to be a penalty. Ball's up in the air, as you'll see coming right in your screen now, and it's not there. Let's get back to regular action. That is just a bad, bad decision.
Right, he was triple covered, not a double cover. He was triple covered.
Tigers put the ball on the ground on the next play from scrimmage. They get about 5 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 5 as the Anacostia fans start to file out. Nobody on the Wilson side is moving out of their seat. I think they realize that everybody in this stadium is going to be a part of history, or at least witness it.
Now, are they leaving early because of the game, or are they leaving early because of that bird that's sitting on that table?
2nd down and 5 for Randolph and his Tigers. Randolph hands off to the up back. That's number 44, who gets an important first down for Wilson. The ball carrier for the Tigers is Osai Miller.
You know, Doc Jellick, we talked about air Anacostia. And sometimes when you go to that running shoot, it's a good offense, but when it's not working, it's very vulnerable to the interception. As of yet, we had Davis, that was his 3rd interception of the day. So that's one thing that could happen when you put that ball up in the air.
Well, I think he's going deep a lot. I'd like to see a little more underneath. You take those hitches, take those slants, they haven't run a square out all day. I mean, take the things the defense is giving you. Running up against cover 2, maybe the out's not there, but take the slant.
Willoughby slips on the AstroTurf, and instead of getting a big gain, he ends up settling for about 2 or 3 yards. It'll be 2nd down and long coming up for the Tigers.
You know, I go back a long time ago with Coach Miles, and he used to say, when you put that ball in the air, 3 things can happen, and 2 of them is bad. So, you know, if you can run it, you want to run it. You want to keep that thing out of the air.
Shelly, I think we've got a player down. Looks like number 56.
It is.
Anacostia.
And he's not on my roster.
Yeah, we've had trouble all day.
Yeah.
It looks like Jimmy Stubbs. He's a junior, 6 foot, 190-pound linebacker, defensive back, and we can only hope that it's something like got the wind knocked out of it. Those are the best injuries. You don't want to have it if you're down there, but I just hate to see kids hit the ankles and the knees at this level.
Keep in mind, at the conclusion of today's ball game, we will be selecting a most valuable player of the game, at which time we will be awarding them with a WKYS T-shirt. And, Doc, does the Broadcast Factory have something?
Well, our guru, Harry Davis, so we've had players of the game. We have trophies in the past, and I'm sure that Big Harry will always have something in store for the kids. We have players of the game and get it to them at their respective schools throughout the week.
Great. So we got the most valuable player coming up at the conclusion of today's ball game. We got him covered with a couple of goodies. As a matter of fact, we've got a a T-shirt for most valuable player for both teams, the winning school and the losing school, since this is the championship game. As you see the injured Indian being helped off the field, and a good look at the Wilson fans in the background.
Well, Wilson has a lot to cheer about, Shelley.
Oh, yeah.
About 40 carries, 256 yards, and 3 touchdowns on the ground. Anacostia may be Eric Anacostia, but this looks like ground Wilson football to me.
It's ground beef football.
The ground attack. Here's Willoughby scooting to the outside. He may have another Wilson first down.
And he does.
First down number 15 for the Tigers as Willoughby gets up to the 44-yard line. Well, we've been talking about how do you stop Pickney. How do you stop Willoughby is the question now.
Get some handcuffs and a rope, tie him to the pole, and don't let him go.
Well, it's a game that the Redskins staff would sure like. I mean, they get that ball on the ground and start running. The Hogs is not an offensive lineman. If Coach Fred Dean, former Hog, one of the original Hogs, who's the offensive line coach at Howard University, if he's anywhere watching this game, you better believe he's taking some notes, and he will be getting in contact with these offensive linemen in the near future.
Howard they have one of the linemen from Wilson last year, and Brooke
Crowley.
Brooke Crowley, and he's about 6'4", about 280 pounds. Center guard.
And here comes a reverse by the Tigers. Van Johnson picks up the second handoff, and he gets about a good 4 or 5 yards. And now the Tigers trying to show a little razzle-dazzle. Doc, is this rubbing it in or what?
No, it's just good football. I mean, when you've been running the option and you haven't shown them anything different right now, you take a shot at it. I think it's good football. Man has some moves, too, man. He looks sweet.
Second down and 6 coming up for the Tigers.
Coach, what does this do for Wilson's program?
What it does is it gets them more money, gives them better uniforms, it gives them a lot of recognition that they haven't had in years, and it brings some respectability. So throughout the year, teams didn't recognize Wilson as a football power. They recognized him as an academic situation and a mediocre program. But they failed to realize that in the last 2 years, Wilson has won 2 baseball championships in consecutive years. The football teams have won the city title, city West Division 3 years, and right now they're in the process of winning the city title. Their swimming team is coming in first place. The basketball team is widely recognized, and the boys basketball team is played at Coastal House. So the program itself, the athletic program over there with Dr. Bonner and the rest of her administrative staff and the total athletic department over at Woodrow Wilson Senior High School is really getting the job done. And most important is doing good for the kids and sending these kids to college, because 90% of all of Wilson football players and athletes that go to college, 85 to 90% of them graduate. So
that's the best stat I've heard all day.
I want to tack something on to what you were saying, Coach, right after this play. Third down and short coming up for the Tigers. Willoughby is your ball carrier. Willoughby breaks off one tackle, gets the first down inside the 45. He'll spot it at about the 43-yard line. I think head coach Horace Fleming of Wilson summed it up best. I asked him 2 years ago when Wilson won their first division title in about 40 years. I asked Coach Fleming, what did the division title mean to the Wilson community? And he said it best. He said, it just goes to show that it's only a matter of time before every school gets their turn. I think Wilson has been to the championship game back in the early 50s, had not been to the city title game since then, prior to 2 years ago. And in that 40-year span, I think just about everybody within the league has made it to the city title game. And it just goes to show that in time, every school will get their chance to participate one way or another.
Looks like Steve Willoughby's down on the turf. I thought he may have gotten his leg bent back on that last tackle. He did lower his shoulder. He got low. He got down to the turf.
It's funny, Doc, because the one time he go low, he get hurt.
He gets hurt, yeah. He probably won't do that anymore. Yeah, I got to make another point. You're talking about Wilson Athletics, and you're talking about the girls' basketball team. And our 2 spotters up here from Anacostia do not look too happy about all this praise being given to the girls' basketball team. And Wilson.
No, we're not saying that Wilson is the only program that is excelling. We're saying that they're one of the programs in front of us now. Certainly, Anacostia over there with Coach Willie Stewart has done a great job, and he's had 6 inter-high titles to his credit, and is undoubtedly one of the better coaches in the inter-high, if not in the area.
Take another look at that injury right now. See, it looks like right there, you watch the left side of your screen, Willoughby's leg kind of gets bent back, about 3 tackles on it. He did lower his shoulder.
Here's Moore this time with the carry for the Tigers. He tries to bulldoze his way forward. He gets inside the 40 to about the 38. It'll be second down coming up for the Tigers. Clock is running. 5:10 remaining in the ball game. Wilson is ahead 24-6. The Tigers looking for their first city title in the school's history. And if winning the city title is not enough incentive for the Tigers, look what they have to look forward to next year. Not only do they have a chance to make history today, they have a chance to make history next year, as they have a chance to shoot for their fourth consecutive division title, something that no D.C. public school has ever done. Second down and 5 coming up. Randolph hands off to Moore again. Moore gets inside the 35, close to another first down. I think he does have it. Count it, first down number 16 for the Tigers.
Well, I tell you, Shelly, the time is running out for Anacostia. There's 4 minutes and 22 seconds left in this game, and Wilson is up 24-6. And I see a little celebration over there in the stands a little bit, but I see very little on that sideline because I know Coach Fleming is not going for this stuff jumping around before counting your hatches before they hatch. Counting the chickens before they hatch. Counting the hatches before they hatch.
Before they hatch. Our statisticians, Anika Taylor and Patricia Feemster from Anacostia girls basketball program. These girls up here, they're very proud of the tradition of Anacostia. They have guaranteed me that they were going to take the title this year. So we're going to have to keep in touch with these two young ladies and see what happens. But right now, their football team is not doing too well, ladies.
And I want to correct myself. Eastern did win this division title 4 years in a row back in the late 50s, early 60s. So I stand to be corrected. So Wilson has a chance to repeat that feat rather than be the first to do it. Third down and short coming up for the Tigers. Moore, the ball carrier. He puts his shoulder for it, gets first down number 17 for the Tigers inside the 30-yard. Well, they'll spot it right at the 30-yard line. First and 10 for the Tigers with just under 4 minutes remaining in the ball game.
Gentlemen, this is the 11th play of this drive. You know, it's consumed over 5 minutes of time off the clock. We're under 3 minutes to go in this football game, and I think that the Wilson Tigers have this thing locked up, and they're dominating right now in terms of their play on the line of scrimmage.
Not only that, Doc, but Wilson did everything that Coach Fleming said they were going to do today up until this point. That is come in, play solid football, keep the ball away from Anacostia, consume the clock so that they cannot be scored upon. You cannot put a high-powered offense on the field if they do not have the football. And evidently, we look at the time, and Wilson have had the ball 3/4 of the amount of time that's been on the clock today. So that's the game in itself. If you don't have the ball, you can't score no points.
Talking about consuming time off the clock, the Tigers have just taken a delay of game penalty. It'll push them back 5 yards. It'll be first down and 15. Talking about Anacostia, we're talking about the Anacostia young ladies up here. We like to recognize that one of our camera operators, Maria Johnson, as you see a pitch to Willoughby gets back to the original line of scrimmage and then some. It'll be second down coming up for the Tigers. Maria Johnson, who is a rover camera operator for us this afternoon, she is a graduate of Anacostia High School. As a matter of fact, some of the broadcast factory production crew are students, if not graduates, of the D.C. public school system. So we like to acknowledge that fact as well.
Yeah, I think you just have to applaud the commitment of all these young people that put this telecast on. The broadcast factory in itself should be chronicled all over the country. I mean, it's really great to see young people that get an opportunity. It shows when you get a chance to do something, given equal access, kids can excel from all different areas.
Not only that, Doc, but I'll tell you something else. This is a golden opportunity for Wilson because right now what Anacostia is doing, they're crowding the line of scrimmage. They're saying that you're not going to run us anymore. We're going to shut you down and get the ball back. This is an opportune time for a play-action pass and a touchdown. Anacostia last time had something like 7 people at the line of scrimmage. So this is a golden opportunity right now if Wilson wanted to sort of put a clincher on this thing. Go for that play action. They don't get it. They still have 4th down, and you know they're not going to kick, so they have another down.
Well, Coach, I guarantee you this. If they go out and run a play-action pass on this and score, we're going to get you out of the booth and put you back on the sideline with some headsets on.
No way.
Doc, I don't know if you realize or not, they used to call this man Flash during this time.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's flashing all right now. He's the predictor. As far as I'm concerned, he's the predictor.
Look at this single coverage out here. You can't help it. See all the people crowding that line of scrimmage? They're saying that you're not going to run on it. And why should you not run on it? I would just pull up and throw a flag. There it is.
Randolph going up top. He's got a man open. Johnson caught. Touchdown, Wilson.
Opportune time that was there. They were crowding the line of scrimmage. Wasn't nothing else you can do but throw a touchdown in the face.
Shelly, will you please put Flash back on the field, please? I think we got to put the gentleman back on the field. Coach, you called it. They didn't need to play action. They just dropped back and just went in-your-face football.
It's as simple as because they had too many men at the line of scrimmage. And the most difficult thing to do, and you know this, is to find a good man cover man.
On any level.
On any level. In high school, you just can't do it. That's because they play a lot of zone. So when you find a situation like that, it's telling you what you should do. It goes back to what you were saying earlier. You don't force anything on people. You just take what they give you.
Take what they give you.
And they gave them the touchdown by simply not saying that you're not going to run on us anymore.
Well, this goes back right now to take out the frustration that has loomed over the Wilson program in recent years, being not able to win this championship game. They've certainly done it today in fine fashion.
And Jackson's point after touchdown, Jackson finally gets the PAT through the upright, which makes the score 31-6 as you look at the replay. Randolph.
Drops back now. He's looking right the whole time. This is really an insult to injury. Looks that way, goes up. Coach, you called it. Right now it's just quarterback and receiver, touchdown Tigers.
And the thing about it is Anacostia come in being Air Anacostia. Let's take another look at it from another angle, from ground level.
You know, you just don't expect it to be that easy.
Right, and what happens is we come in, Anacostia is Air Anacostia. We expect a lot of passes out of them. As of right now, Chief Davis for Anacostia has thrown 3 interceptions. We look on the other hand, Wilson is a running football team. But out of the running, they only scored, 1, 2 rushing touchdowns, and Quincy has thrown 2 more through the air. So it was a total package for Wilson today. They played total defense, total offense, and with 2 minutes and 52 seconds left in this game, I really can't see Anacostia coming back. Being the score is 31-6 in favor of the Wilson Tigers.
You know, we've talked about the Wilson offense, but I've got to give credit to the Wilson defense as well. You know, at the top of this program, I mentioned that they have 5 shutouts under the belt. I was corrected. They actually have 7 this season, if you count the forfeit by Bell. In all of Wilson's games this year, in only 1 game, I mean, take that back, in only 2 games did they give up more than 1 touchdown. The loss they had to Gonzaga 14-6, and in the game they had against Eastern to start the season, they won 21-13.
They made a fumble on that play, and I don't want to be the one to say it, but I think Wilson may have the football back.
I'll say it. I'm an alumnus of Wilson, and I'm so happy I can't even say it right.
Not only that, but they're staying right on track because Wilson scored 31 points today, and going into this game, for the season, they were averaging 32.3 points per game. So, you know, they're pretty much on track for them with 31 points.
Let's take another look at this now in the replay. Yeah, you pick up the football, and right now, if you're Anacostia, you got to make a play. You run right up in the middle. Usually good things don't happen up the middle. That ball is stripped away. That time looks like number 30.
Number 90.
Number 90 of Wilson?
Well, somebody said 30, Coach said 60, I said 90. I think it was 90.
One thing. Let's take another look at it again. Yeah, number 60. Thank you for that replay, Harry Davis in the truck. That was a nice strip. Yeah, strip by number 90.
It was 90.
And the worst thing that could have happened if you're an Anacostia Indian, that is that Wilson has the ball.
That was Roderick Wilkes with the hit for the Tigers. For Anacostia, that's their 4th fumble, their 2nd one that they have lost. The Tigers put it on the ground, and a yard or 2 is gained by number 45, and that's Anthony Delaney. Coach, I'm sorry.
No problem. I'm sorry to you, Shelley. But, Doc, remember Monday Night Football, Shelley? And when it gets like this, it was Don Meredith was singing his old song, turn out the lights,
Nice, yeah.
this
The
party's over. Because this thing is over. There was a minute and 54 seconds left in the game. Wilson 31, Anacostia 6. Should we call this an upset, gentlemen, or what should we call it? Should we call this an upset?
I couldn't call this an upset. Right now, I have to call this a physical performance by a great defense and offensive line that just flat dominated Anacostia. Right now, I think Wilson came in on a mission, and they did what they had to do.
No, I wouldn't call it an upset simply because coming into the ball game, Wilson was 1 game better than Anacostia. The Tigers are 10-1, the Indians 9-2. Plus, the Tigers were ranked higher than the Indians in several of the local polls. Wilson was ranked 10th in the Washington Post poll. I think Anacostia was ranked 19th in the 50-yard line. 17th. I'm sorry. I stand to be corrected. The young ladies over here correcting us again. In the 50-yard line poll, Wilson was ranked number 8. Anacostia was ranked 15th.
Anika and Patricia have not missed a move all day. I mean,
And
they're
look,
real
and look, when, I don't think
of the Indian program.
I don't think we've heard the last of them yet. I think when this game is over, they'll still be correcting.
Oh yeah, they will. I can't wait to see them play basketball this year. We've got a break.
And Wilson just trying to put the cherry. They've already put the icing on the cake. I guess they're trying to put the cherry on now.
And let's not be confused here. I don't think Coach Fleming is trying to rub this thing in. What he's doing is trying to get all of his ball players involved, putting in a lot of the reserves, the people who hadn't played all year, to get them in a championship game and see what it's like. It's important to get those young guys in there so they can get the feel of this game, so next year they will really have something to shoot for. If they just happen to break loose and score a touchdown, it's not rubbing this game in Anacostia's face or Coach Willie Stewart. It's just that these kids are very eager and they're going out and they're trying to get a touchdown, so they have something to talk about at the turkey dinner.
Well, I've always said you never have to make apologies for playing solid football.
Not only that, it's no guarantee that you'll be here next year as you see the Tigers trying to get another touchdown and there's a flag on the play. There's no guarantee that Wilson's going to be here next year. Sure, they've three-peated as division champions, but that's not to say that they'll be here again next year because every school has personnel coming in and coming out. So when you do get in the championship game, everybody's going to play their hearts out until the last second ticks off the clock.
We got a replay coming up, Shelley. We'll take a look at it and see just why this play failed. Here, it looks like a basic dot. Well, these are fumbles. He's got a bad exchange, and they lose the ball. Great mind to just keep going north-south with that.
Well, that's my youngin in there. That's the new quarterback, Keith Anderson, the sophomore. We've been elaborating about Anderson every time he's gotten in any action this year. They're really excited about this kid. He's just a 10th grader. He's going to take over where Quincy Randolph leaves off, and he's going to be back for 2 more years for the Tigers. Keep this guy's name in your mind, Anderson. They put the ball on the ground. Did he get in? Yes, touchdown, Tigers. Moore gets another TD for the Tigers. And there's your cherry for you, folks, with 4 seconds left in the ball game.
I think it's more than a cherry, Shelley. I think it's that sweet potato pie.
I think it's some turkey legs and collard greens and yams. I think it's everything. What I really think it is it's like the law of average sitting upon Wilson and saying, you've been here 3 years, you worked hard, you have a good program, it's about time that, you go ahead and you win this thing. And they come in and have a solid football team, and Doc and Shelley, they put together a solid football plan. In the last 2 weeks, we have been blessed to see 2 fine football games. Last week it was Anacostia against Eastern, and this week is Wilson against Anacostia. And like I said, we've been blessed. It's just been 2 fine football games on 2 fine football days in consecutive weeks, and we're very happy to see that.
Jackson goes for the point after touchdown. It's blocked, but there is a flag on the play. If you have to look at this game and you look at the score, you see the score is 37-6 in favor of Wilson, and you say to yourself, well, gee, what did Wilson do wrong? It's kind of ironic because the kicking game has been just about the only thing that has been pretty subpar for the Tigers, and that's kind of ironic because all year long, Coach, we've been seeing the Wilson kicking game being one of their greatest assets.
Well, that's the mark of a good team, Shelley. When one thing breaks down, you have to pick up and compensate on another end. The kicking game was not working today, but certainly the running game and all of that.
Take a replay of that last play, Coach. Here it looks like just straight dive, a give, and he's met at the line. Now, you start looking about legs, and you talked about this earlier. A good back has got to keep his legs churning at every point. That time, he was able to do that, and he received the reward for that. Notice how when Shelley says touchdown Wilson Tigers, there's a little extra into that. That alumni keeps creeping out of him, doesn't it?
He's already abandoned us and run down on the field.
This could be the last play of the game, and no. The return man for the Indians slips on the turf, so we'll still have 1 more play left in the ball game.
4 seconds.
Since you all brought up the fact that I had a little extra incentive in that touchdown, I'd like to say a special shout-out to my classmates, 1981 class of Wilson High School. We just had our 10-year reunion this summer, Doc and Coach, and we had a real nice time at the Omni Showroom downtown, and I was telling all my classmates, I said, look, you guys, you got to start coming out to some of these Wilson games, you know, support these kids. I mean, we stuck together when we were in school. Just because we're not in school anymore, that doesn't mean we have to shy away from our school. These kids still need our support. All the schools need support from their fellow alumni. And I just urge that all the alumni from the fellow schools to come on out and support their schools. And folks, let it be known that on November 28th, 1991, 1991, the Wilson Tigers have made history by capturing the school's first ever city title in football by a score of 37-6 over the Anacostia Indians at Howard University's Green Stadium. Folks, you have just witnessed history. Mark it on your calendar.
Well, we'd just like to say that congratulations to the Woodrow Wilson Tigers, Dr. Bonner and her entire administrative staff. I'm sure that they're very happy about this. They've been very supportive of Coach Fleming and all the athletic programs up there at Woodrow Wilson Senior High School. And it's just very happy to see one of the schools win that I had a part of.
And these guys continue to do this and be good citizens. Trust in God, everything will work out fine.
You know, I've been sticking up for my alma mater, but let me stick up for Anacostia. Now, these guys have nothing to be ashamed of, especially the seniors. They already have one city title under their belt, as Anacostia won this championship game against Wilson 2 years ago. So people like Lavelle Pickney, they will not be going out losers. As a matter of fact, to tack on to that, a lot of these seniors will be seeing each other one more time in the All-Star game coming up.
Yeah, but just to hit on a little point, Shelley, along with what you just said, none of these teams are not considered losers. It's too bad that both teams can't win, but we know sports are not played like that. The other thing is Anacostia had a fine season. They're 9-1. As of today, they're 9-1-1. But Coach Willis, 9-3. I'm sorry, Coach Willis Stewart over at Anacostia and the faculty and administration over there has nothing to be ashamed of. They have a proud tradition over there, and they're constantly doing things and putting out good people and good kids and good situations. So once again, we take our hats off to Anacostia, although they were on the burnt end of a 36-6 defeat. But that does not to say that they are losers. They are simply winners, and you have to take them into consideration too. In order for you to get here, you have to beat a lot of good teams, and along the way, they did just that. So all in all, these two teams came in here with fine records and fine traditions, and it's just happy to see such a fine football game on such a glorious day.
Gentlemen, we have to select the most valuable player from both teams, starting with the Anacostia Indians. Doc, start with you. Your selection.
Well, I think you've always got to put it in the hands of the quarterback. In my opinion, although I think the back had an outstanding game, he had over 100 yards rushing.
Taylor.
Yeah, he had over 100 yards.
Are you talking about Willoughby for Wilson?
I'm talking about Willoughby for
Wilson.
Wilson.
Okay.
Yeah, Willoughby. You're talking about for Wilson High School right now?
Okay. Well,
I think Willoughby had an outstanding game. Again, Randall, a senior, he's been here. Willoughby had 17 carries, 126 yards. Again, I just think Randolph, being 3 years, having felt the agony of defeat, to come out triumphant today, he has to be my player of the game. That'd be my vote.
Coach?
Well, I don't have to do a lot of talking because Doc did all the talking for me. And the reason being is that we agree wholeheartedly. I just would like to say one thing, that congratulations to Quincy Randolph. I happen to know his family, know his mother and all, and his brothers. So we just like to say congratulations to him as being our MVP thus far, because the three was voting and we outvoted you.
Wait a minute. You know I couldn't agree with you anymore.
So the thing is, we just like to say congratulations to him, and we're happy to see him going out winning a game. I'm not saying being a winner, because he always has been a winner, and he should continue to be a winner. We're just happy to see him win his last football game.
So Quincy Randolph, the 5'11", 170-pound senior quarterback for the Wilson Tigers, our unanimous most valuable player of the game, rushed for 1 touchdown, threw for 2 others to help the Tigers in 403 total yards offense. In the losing cause for Anacostia, who would you select for most valuable player?
Oh, it would have to be the big fella. I think Pinkney would have to go with that. He was here 3 years ago. He led his team to a victory then. He was admirable today. He fought like a true champion. I think he's got a great future.
Coach?
Well, you know, I was thinking about that, but Pinckney certainly has the character and all to do the thing. I would go with Pinckney simply because his team would not be here if it was not for Pinckney. So I was with him all year. I'm not going to give up on him now. And I would just like to say, when he watches this telecast, congratulations to him, and we wish him a lot of success. And keep his head on straight, stay with the books, and he should be just okay. I mean, he should be okay. I'll go with Pinckney also.
You know, unfortunately for Brannon, as good a game as he had, I think his excellent performance is overshadowed by Pinckney. And the thing about it, in my opinion,
DCIAA, the Turkey Bowl, Wilson and Anacostia.
That's right, Mike. And the Indians got there throwing the ball, and on Thanksgiving Day, they came out putting it up. But Keith Davis's long pass is picked off by Jamil Jenkins at the 5, and he runs it back to the Wilson 31. Mike, the Tigers secondary had a great day. On the next play, Steve Willoughby finds things crowded on the left side, so he reverses directions and gets outside the defense on the right, turning a loss into a big gain. A face mask penalty adds more yards, and the Tigers are at the Indians' 37. Several plays later, Kenny Coleman slices for 14 yards, and Wilson has a 1st and goal at the 3.
What we basically did was ran a toss trap. We faked the toss and run a guard on the pull. And it was just wide open in the type of defense they're playing. So it was just daylight up in there. To safety, they were hiding. So he, you know, came out and was basically able to stop me.
On the next play, Quincy Randolph gets the game's first score as he rolls left and runs it in. The extra point fails, but Wilson leads 6-0 midway through the first quarter. After a change of possessions, it's Willoughby again. This time he blasts up the middle through a big hole, cuts right, and races for 29 yards to the Anacostia 28 before he's pushed out of bounds. The drive continues into the second quarter. Watch this great one-handed catch by Van Johnson. Oh, what a grab. And it's 1st and goal at the 1. Willoughby just breaks the plane on the dive, and following a missed 2-point try, the Tigers now lead 12-0. And the Indians try to come back. Davis dumps it over the middle to tight end Keith Brannon. That's good for 17 yards and a 1st down at the Wilson 47. Davis then goes for the bundle, but Van Johnson makes the first of his 3 interceptions. He takes it at the 18 and brings it back to the Tiger 38, ending the Indians' drive. Then Willoughby gets loose again. This time off right tackle, he rambles for 19 yards to the Anacostia 47. Several plays later, Randolph goes back to pass, has time, steps up, and hits Paul Hackley. He scores, and the 30-yard touchdown makes it 18-0 Wilson.
This was a tight end dump, and you know I faked the ball to the 32, and I waited for him to clear, and I stepped up in the pocket, and there he was sitting right in front of my face.
Second half changes. Anacostia switches to blue jerseys, and it looks like things may be different. Davis lofts it to Lavelle Pinckney. He outleaps 3 defenders in the end zone, and the Wilson lead is cut to 18-6. Fourth quarter action. Kenny Coleman takes the counter trap into the end zone from 14 yards out, and the Tigers are in control, 24-6.
That's, you know, was the bread and butter play. That was the same play. And this time, you know, the safety wasn't nowhere around. So, you know, ran it hard, and I was determined to get there. It was planned to run a touchdown in because we wanted to keep scoring because, you know, you never know. They could come back in the last 10 minutes. You know, we had to get as much points as we could.
Keith Davis demonstrates his strong arm, throwing 50 yards down the field. But Van Johnson hauls it in the end zone for the touchback. That's his 3rd interception of the game. Johnson had some day. Here he gets open behind the secondary. Randolph delivers. Van makes the catch and tiptoes in for 6 more Tiger points, and it's 30-6.
We was running the ball well, you know, so I thought they was, you know, my coach thought that, you know, they was going to keep on running, you know, keep on running the ball. So, you know, we snuck a pass play in on them, you know, and it worked. Van is a great wide receiver. Now, my offensive line, whatever I throw up, he'll get it.
Nate Jackson comes on to kick the point after, and with less than 3 minutes left, it's 31-6 Wilson. After the Tigers recover a fumble, O.Z. Miller gets big yardage, fighting his way to the Anacostia 4. 2 plays later, with time running out, Mike Moore adds one more, and the final is 37-6 Wilson.
We worked real hard the last 3 years to, condition ourselves and develop ourselves to be a championship team. And today, everything was working. Offense scored, defense scored. It was working well. We have a strong defense and a very strong offense, and we've been working hard all year. Offense really came through. They put points on the board. Defense held them. It was a good game.
We just stayed focused and concentrated on assignments. Our coach gave us all assignments, and we just concentrated and played it tough. Our defense had been playing well all year long, and I knew we were capable of shutting it. We're capable of shutting any team out, so that didn't surprise me at all.
John, I got to tell you, Wilson looked awfully good in that football game.
Well, they were loaded this year, and, that's the first time Coach Willie Stewart's ever lost a championship game. He was 6-0 coming in, but Wilson was the better team, and it was all Tigers on Turkey Day.
Yeah, it was not to be for Anacostia in that particular football game.
That's right.
It was interesting the way he switched to jerseys, though.
That was. We're going to have to ask Willie about that next week. He'll be on our special, and I've never seen it done before. But first of all, before we move on, let's congratulate Coach Horace Fleming and the Wilson Tigers, DCIAA champs.
Yeah, they did a good job this year. Great job.
Now, over in Virginia, they're still playing football.
Oh, they are. Now we're talking about the Northern Region semifinal in Virginia, and that one had Langley playing EC Glass. Now, this would be a